Oh, hi, Andy. Hi, Zoe. Sortar, Sortorican. Your names are so little, I have trouble seeing them. Hello, welcome. Uh, oh, hey, B. Can you let yourself up, or where you at now? I don't see you. How come I don't see you? There you go. Okay. Uh, Once again, TikTok was not letting me like log in. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm on my Wi-Fi phone, so okay. This is going to be a continuation of VisionCon, and specifically, I was going to play David Blanchard's interview, but I also wanted to go over a couple things that I did today. I play around in ChatGTP all the time, and today I was asking it specifically. The reason I use ChatGTP is whoop. I'm I took
Hello.
my naproxen, and it's like this really strong painkiller. So I'm a little loopy. This live might get crazy. CoreLogic, hi. Um, okay. So can everybody hear me? First off, because
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you guys. Hold on. Okay. Talk. B. Talk. Say something.
Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me? Yeah, I couldn't, but I can now. It, that's what it's doing. It's like it's cutting the sound, and it does that after they suspend me. Like for the first day that I come back, the sound doesn't match up with my mouth. It's really weird. I don't know why it does that. Hi, New Orleans lady. Hi, Louise. Okay, this is going to be a continue. Oh, and I did upload last night's VisionCon live. I uploaded it to YouTube, but for some reason, when I upload it, it's okay. It's giving. Yeah, this is going to be a crazy live tonight because I am like out of it. Um, anyway, when I upload it to YouTube, it keeps it private for 2 days, and then it goes public. So it's scheduled to. I put it up there. It's scheduled to go public in 2 days from now. Uh, anyway, the reason I use hi Peggy. The reason I use ChatGTP is not because I trust everything that it's doing. What ChatGTP does, or any AI, it combs the internet, and it doesn't just do like Google. It'll comb all different search engines and find everything about that topic. So, like when I'm looking for an article, for instance, and I'm looking for specific articles from 2015, if I just search Google, those aren't going to come up. There's going to be a million of like the 2024 and 2025 when after she got off parole. That's what's going to come up first. But if I search specifically in AI for the 2025 articles, they will give me links. It'll shoot out links to those articles. So that's what. And so today I went in and searched VisionCon specifically. VisionCon and the link to Gypsy and the link to David Blanchard, and I wanted to know everything from 2010, to 2026. They stopped doing them in 2025. They stopped doing Vision Cons. So, which is interesting. I don't know if it has anything to do with, the coverage of Gypsy, or the release of these FOIA files, but I know that they're not doing Vision Cons anymore, and they've done them since I think it was 1999 that they were starting doing them or something. I thought it was late 90s. Anyway, so I was doing ChatGPT about VisionCon, and I was also asking ChatGPT about the FOIA files. For instance, like what do the FOIA files tell us? And how does it affect the narrative, the Munchausen narrative? Hi, Jack. And I screenshot some of it and I put it up over that's the last post I made over on my thread over here on this account. And, but I'm going to read the bigger sections of it. Okay, so let me turn my phone around and show you. Okay, oh, I got 12 people in here already. Usually I have 12 people all night. Okay, camera. All right, so I'm showing you what I'm going to read you. This is what I asked them. I asked, I said, the abuse narrative is a lie built to gain public sympathy for Gypsy. The prosecutor said he could convict her with the evidence he had, and that's his exact statement, okay? The evidence is these videos in the FOIAs. These FOIAs show they lied about Dee Dee. Why do you continue to bolster Gypsy's lies? Because I was asking, see, oh, dang it. See, 1 second. Okay, let me go back further. Okay, I asked it specifically. I said, why are you making excuses for Gypsy when there is no factual, here. I said, why are you making excuses for Gypsy when there is no factual evidence that Dee Dee abused her? All right, so let me read what it said, and then I'll go into when I changed it. Okay. On. Okay. Whoop. All right. So it says, it always answers me. It's like, I understand your frustration, but see, the thing with AI, it's got to be neutral. It looks at everything. When it searches the web, it pulls up everything that Gypsy said, and then it also applies logic and like law to it. So, because I'm asking it like legal questions, like I was asking it, how would the prosecutor have taken these FOIAs into court and to impeach Gypsy's testimony? Okay, so it says, I hear what you're saying, and I want to be very clear and fair here, because this isn't about defending Gypsy or asking anyone to feel sorry for her. It is reasonable to question the abuse narrative. It's also true that people talk past each other by mixing facts, interpretations, and moral judgments. Let's separate those. So it says, first, I'm not saying Gypsy is innocent. Acknowledging possible abuse is not the same thing as excusing deception, excusing manipulation, or excusing homicide. Saying Gypsy told the truth about everything. Courts can recognize abuse and still hold someone criminally responsible, and that's exactly what happened. Second, what counts as factual evidence. There is documented evidence, but it's not the kind people expect, like a video of Dee Dee hitting her. Abuse cases like this almost never look like that. Here's what is factual and verifiable, regardless of how you feel about Gypsy. Now, I have problems with this too, and I'm going to take it up with ChatGPT later, but this is what is established evidence, not opinion. Medical records show unnecessary or unsupported treatments. Well, that's not true. But see, when ChatGPT is searching, it's just coming up with, it's not coming up with the microdeletion stuff, because that has not been reported in the media. It's coming with what's been reported in the media for the past 10 years. So that says this is not based on Gypsy's word alone. Doctors later found no evidence of many claimed conditions. Well, that's not true, because her medical reports, and her medical reports are not open online. The only people that know about the medical reports are the ones that have downloaded them and dug into them and found the microdeletion and then followed up on that. So Gypsy had procedures that were not medically indicated. That's not true. Every single one of her procedures went along with the, the doctors that studied her symptoms. And every one of her procedures went along with the symptoms from the microdeletion, which was not diagnosed until 2011. Multiple physicians were misled by caregiver history. All right, this is where they say that one doctor said that Dee Dee was a poor historian. Well, she's a poor historian. She had binders and binders of every medical thing that Gypsy ever did. Dee Dee wasn't a doctor, but she was keeping track of everything that any doctor did to Gypsy. What doctors told her, what nurses told her, what she searched online for herself. Gypsy, as a child, Gypsy was throwing up all over the place. Her muscles were weak. Okay, she was falling down. But mainly, she was throwing up. She didn't eat. She had failure to thrive. She was in a feeding hospital for months where they did test after test after test. All right. Dee Dee's, I didn't have binders and binders of shit about my kids. But when they were throwing up, I took them to the hospital. If they had diarrhea, I took them to the hospital because I know those two things can dehydrate a child very fast. So Gypsy, by her own thing and by her medical reports, she had to have that surgery on her stomach to stop her from throwing up all the time. So she admits she was throwing up all the time. So saying that there was nothing wrong with her when she was a child is blatantly deceptive, because there was. All right, so, but the ChatGPT is just spitting out the same narrative that we've been sold. The public has been sold since 2016. When Mike Stanfield came out to the press conference carrying all those binders and misleading the public to believe that that was evidence that Dee Dee had Munchausen's. It wasn't. The public never saw what was in those binders. They were never taken through it and shown. He pulled one paper out from that guy that said Dee Dee was a poor historian. That's all the public ever saw. So it says documented. That's documented in records and acknowledged by investigators. That's not true. No investigator ever confirmed that. So that alone meets the clinical definition of medical abuse, regardless of Gypsy's behavior. So that, none of that there is true. Age misrepresentation is proven. This is objective fact. Dee Dee repeatedly claimed Gypsy was years younger, and so did Gypsy. Birth records confirm the real age, and in 2009, CPS was called to the house, and Dee Dee told Gypsy's real age, confirmed her real age, because that's in the CPS report, and Gypsy pretended to be mentally slow. They separated them and talked to them separately. There were no bruises on Gypsy, no claimed abuse whatsoever, physical abuse, and Gypsy pretended to be slow. That's in the report. Okay, so it wasn't just Dee Dee telling everybody that Gypsy was younger. Gypsy was playing along and telling everybody she was younger. And then in 2011, when Gypsy knew her real age, because she took it to Dan, she took her cards and everything to show Dan she was of legal age, she continued to lie about her age. She lied to Nick and told her she was younger. She lied to Aaliyah and said she was 18 when she was 23. She lied to the interrogator, said she was 19 when she knew she was 24. Hi, bitch. Sorry, I keep calling you. Well, that's her name. She knows I don't mean anything by it. I met her in another live. So, okay. Okay. Says the age thing says that's not Gypsy's claim. It's paperwork. Misrepresenting a dependent's age to authorities is a control tactic, not a parenting style. And like I said, Dee Dee wasn't the only one misrepresenting the age. Gypsy was playing along. And like Gypsy knew she was 17 when they moved, and they were telling everybody she was 12. They were doing it specifically to fraud the charities. So, yeah, they were doing it to like I said, continue to get the donations and charities and make the neighborhood feel sorry for her. It's easier for them to feel sorry for a child than a 17-year-old in a wheelchair. So that's what that was all about. That wasn't Dee Dee forcing Gypsy or fooling Gypsy to believe that she was younger, because Gypsy grew up with her brother. Gypsy knew how old her brother was, and he was 4 years younger than her. And Gypsy knew that she was 17. Because the next year they joined VisionCon, and Gypsy sending naked pictures to the older men. So if Gypsy thought she was 13 in 2009, what made her think it was okay to send naked pictures to these older men that were the same age as her father? Huh? See, all that stuff that they did, all the fetish stuff, all the naked stuff, that proves that Gypsy was in on the con the whole time. It completely dismantles the Munchausen defense. That's why I've been waiting for this evidence for 10 years. So, next was control over identity, documents, and mobility. Gypsy did not have independent access to her ID, money, transportation, education. Dee Dee spoke for her in medical and official settings. That's not true. She did have access to her ID. Why? Because she took it to Dan in 2011. She took a whole binder of ID. Money? Yeah, she stole it from Dee Dee. She took money and from when she went to Dan. She took money. She was always stealing money. Dee Dee made a police report because the medications and money was stolen, and Dee Dee knew Gypsy took it. Transportation? Yeah, she had a bus pass. She had a bus pass, and when she ran off to Dan, she just ran down to the neighbors and got a ride. All right. Education? Yeah, she was homeschooled. Rod paid for the homeschool. She was in actual school, which she later lied about. Told Dr. Phil she never went to school. Yes, she did. There's evidence that she went to school. And when she was pretending to be 12 years old, she was reading things like 50 Shades of Grey, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter series, True Blood. Okay. Anne Rice's Sleeping Beauty series. She was surfing all over dark sites on the web, torture sites on the web. So yeah, she had an education. Not only did she have an actual education, but she had an online education, which in some cases is much more of an education because it's broader. Okay, in a school system, you're limited to that school's curriculum. Online, you have the world. You have everything you ever want to know about, every book you have access to, every encyclopedia. Online is a much broader education than a school system. So, hang on a second. Dee Dee spoke for her in medical and official settings. Not true. There's all kinds of stuff in the medical records that show that those doctors talked specifically to Gypsy, and Gypsy was malingering. It's even in there. That Gypsy was faking her symptoms. That's in the medical records. So, 4, professionals identified the pattern as abuse. This matters legally. Prosecutors publicly stated they believed Gypsy was abused. Well, that's not really true. The only thing the prosecutor said is when he said that she lived in prison with her mom. The plea deal explicitly reflected mitigating circumstances. Well, yeah, but those mitigating circumstances were made up. There was no evidence for them. Independent experts described the situation as consistent with caregiver medical abuse. That's not true. So, but see, that AI is feeding me that back based on its search. And the only thing available right now on the web still is the false narrative that they've spread since 2016. So that's our job. That's what we have to do. We've got to retrain the internet. Because the internet right now, most people are using AI when they search. AI is embedded in every search engine, Google, whatever you want to use. In every Twitter has its own AI now where you can ask questions. Anytime you search, any search engine you use, it's going to have an AI function. It's going to feed, the first thing it's going to feed back is an AI response. So right now we have to, that's the future. All right. AI, whether you like it or not, or have problems with it or not, it's the future of the internet. So now the hard part, where critics are also right. There is no evidence that Dee Dee was physically violent in obvious ways. There's no evidence that Gypsy was literally locked up 24/7, which is what she claims, right? Gypsy never understood she was lying. She did know she was lying. Gypsy had zero agency. She did have agency. And yes, Gypsy lied. She participated. She manipulated. And she made catastrophic choices. Those facts don't disappear. The real disagreement isn't facts versus excuses. It's about how much weight to give early coercion versus later agency. It says two reasonable positions can exist. Position A, Gypsy knew what she was doing long before the crime, so abuse claims are overstated. And position B, early long-term control severely distorted her development, but does not excuse murder. Well, there's no evidence of early long-term control. What they're talking about there is Gypsy wants to claim that her younger years, before they moved away, her younger years, okay, that her mother controlled her. Well, there's no evidence of this. So let's take the claim that Dee Dee kept her from Rod all her life. Dee Dee kept her from Rod. Well, that's not true. We see in these Facebook messages now that, well, one, there's all kind of pictures of Rod with Gypsy when she was a little girl. All kinds of, because he never went to the medical stuff, but that's just his laziness and his neglect. That's not Dee Dee's. Dee Dee went to every single medical procedure, including the one when Gypsy was 3 years old and he did the operation on her eyes, and she woke up with bandages on her eyes. Her father wasn't there. He knew about it because his medical was paying for shit, but he never went. Dee Dee did. The woman that Gypsy now calls a piece of shit mother was at every medical procedure, kept records of everything that was done to her, so she was trying to figure out why her daughter was throwing up all the time. All right? So, okay. The justice system landed between these two. Not that she was innocent, not fully unmitigated. That's not emotional, that's legal judgment. Says one last thing, explaining how people justify abuse findings is not the same as endorsing Gypsy's narrative or calling her truthful. You're absolutely allowed to conclude that you don't find her credible or sympathetic, and that what isn't accurate is saying there is no factual evidence of abuse. Well, I disagree with that, because I think there is factual evidence that there was no abuse. So, then I said, the abuse narrative is a lie built to gain public sympathy for Gypsy. The prosecutor said he could convict her with the evidence he had. The evidence is the FOIAs. These FOIAs show they lied about Dee Dee. Why do you continue to bolster Gypsy's lies? It says, I hear your frustration in what you're saying. Let me reset the tone and answer directly without defending Gypsy and without leaning on sympathy narratives. I'm not here to bolster Gypsy's lies. What I am doing is separating three different things that often get blurred. What the FOIA videos prove, what they do not prove, why prosecutors and courts can still acknowledge abuse and say they could convict her. If we don't separate those, people end up arguing past each other. Oh, hi Hannah, you can come up if you want. Well, you have a headache tonight, so if you want to just sit down there. Okay, so what the FOIA videos do show, and this matters. All right, you're right about this part. The FOIA videos show Gypsy actively lying. They show sexual agency, deception, planning, and manipulation. And this is what I say completely dismantles the Munchausen defense, because if Gypsy had any kind of agency is control over your own body, control over your own choices. Gypsy could have walked out the door in 2011. She chose not to. She had agency. She was doing stuff with her own body. She was having sex with men. She was online manipulating men. sending naked pictures to men. That's sexual agency. That means that Dee Dee did not control her. Dee Dee didn't force her to send those pictures to those men. Dee Dee didn't force her to have a sexual relationship with Dan. Dee Dee didn't force her to steal the medication and the money and run off to Dan. Go to a neighbor and ask for a ride to the hospital, a hospital that Gypsy had been in and could have been recognized. All right? So, the videos show Gypsy actively lying. They show she had sexual agency. They contradict the public image of Gypsy as helpless, childlike, or cognitively impaired. Just recently, Gypsy was saying, I think it was on that podcast, that Andrea Dunlap, that she had the mentality of a 13-year-old. No, she did not. Never. She did not. Nick did. She did not. Nick was diagnosed autistic. His mother was told he has the mentality of a 13-year-old. All right. The FOIAs undermine her credibility as a narrator. Yeah. So who has created this narrative for 10 years? Everything comes from Gypsy, and she's a liar, and the FOIAs undermine her credibility. There is real evidence. That is real evidence, and it absolutely damages the pure victim narrative, shows Gypsy was capable of sustained deception, shows she was not always passive or compliant. Anyone who ignores that is being dishonest. Yes, exactly. Exactly, bitch. I'm just going to keep calling you that. That's her
Yes,
name.
bitch.
So, what the FOIA videos do not prove. This is a key point where the disagreement breaks down. The videos do not establish that Dee Dee did not medically misrepresent Gypsy to doctors. Dee Dee did not control Gypsy's legal identity, records, and mobility. She didn't, though. And I'll go into that later. Doctors were not misled by Dee Dee's reporting. Gypsy did not receive unnecessary treatments. Okay, whether Dee Dee went into the hospital and talked to those doctors and said, I think she has this, you know, I do that all the time with my car. And my son's always yelling at me because he says, Mom, you're not a mechanic. Well, my dad taught me shit about cars, basic shit about cars. So I'll go to the mechanic and I'll say, I think it's the alternator. I think it's a fuel issue. I think it's a battery issue, that doesn't mean I think I'm a doctor or that I'm misrepresenting, and Dee Dee was doing the same thing. Dee Dee lived with Gypsy. Dee Dee was the one who cleaned up the throw up, that took care of her, woke her daughter up when she stopped breathing at night. Dee Dee was the caregiver. So she was going into these doctors and saying, okay, these are her symptoms. This is what's going on with my daughter when I don't have her in the hospital. All right? And she did not control Gypsy's legal identity, records, and mobility. Gypsy has repeatedly lied about that. And she told the interrogator that her mother had guardianship papers over her. She told Nick and other people that her mother had guardianship papers and that they would just drag her, the police would drag her back, and her mother would say, she's mentally challenged, and they would just give her back to her mother. Well, that's not true. They did not have guardian. The only thing that Dee Dee ever had was power of attorney, and that would have been just customary. Anytime Gypsy went under anesthesia. I've given power of attorney multiple times to my ex-husbands, to my sons, to someone that because when you go under anesthesia, you're not allowed to sign any legal papers for a while after you come out. So, and she didn't have control of the records. Gypsy had access to those records. Gypsy signed off on her own medical after 2011. There were no medical procedures after 2011, and the microdeletion was diagnosed. Dee Dee had her answer in 2011. Dee Dee had the answer for what was wrong with her daughter in 2011. That's when all hell broke loose. That's when Gypsy started acting out, ran off to be with Dan, stole the medications, stole the money, pew-pewed her mom. Okay? Sent whatever was sent to her father. Sent Mia, 10-year-old Mia, Dan Glidewell's Facebook account. somehow that Mia and them got access to one of the secret accounts and saw the suggestive pictures. We don't know what that is yet, but we know it's something. We know it's one of the naked things. We know it's the Candy or the Emma Rose or one of those accounts. It was probably the Candy account because I've never been able to find that, and I've seen pictures from it, so we know that it existed, but I've never seen it. We know that it existed back in 2017 when HBO got access to it, and Aaron Lee Carr had access to it because that's where these pictures come from. Some of these pictures come from the Candy account where, the baby got back picture. And so and we know that it was that naked account because when Christy is writing to Dee Dee, if that was Dee Dee and not Gypsy, and they're blaming Aaliyah for whatever that was, it talks, Dee Dee says, that's not Gypsy, that wasn't Gypsy, Aaliyah, the neighbor girl, dressed her up like that. So they saw some kind of picture of Gypsy dressed in some way. Could have been the Anastasia Steele pictures.
Well, that and didn't they also say that Christy was also threatening to call the police and say that it was a crime?
Yes.
So it wasn't just a simple, oh, Rod is a bad daughter. Happy birthday, Peggy.
Yeah, happy birthday. Okay. So anyway, that it says the FOIA videos don't prove that she didn't medically misrepresent, but there's nothing that proves that. There's nothing in this medical evidence that they carried around back in 2017 or 16 that they claimed proved Munchausen. That does not prove that Dee Dee medically misrepresented anything. We know that Gypsy signed off on her own records, so Dee Dee did not control her legal identity, the records, or mobility, not after 2011. Doctors were not, it says, it doesn't prove that doctors were not misled by Dee Dee. Well, these doctors aren't stupid. And if they did anything that didn't need to be done, they could be sued for malpractice, and they never have because there's no case. And Gypsy did not receive, it says Gypsy did not receive unnecessary treatments. Yeah, it does prove. Because Gypsy claims multiple treatments. She told Dr. Phil she had multiple treatments. She didn't. Her line in her book where she talks about being afraid that they're going to cut her throat. Okay? She said she'd already had that procedure multiple times. Well, no. What was the procedure? And no, she did not have any kind of procedure. She didn't. Okay, she doesn't
Wasn't
have
that procedure canceled also?
Yes, it was. It was canceled.
Dee Dee canceled that, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, all right. So those facts come from records and third parties, not from Gypsy's videos or interviews. But that's not true either, because a lot of those claims and statements come from Gypsy's interviews with Dr. Phil, for instance, in 2017. That's where a lot of that shit comes from. From the beginning, it came from there. Then Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz continued pushing that narrative, and it's a false narrative that they presented to the public. So the FOIAs expose Gypsy's lies, but they do not retroactively erase actions by Dee Dee. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay? So the prosecutor's statement is misunderstood. You're right about this, but it's often overstated. Yes, the prosecutor said he could convict Gypsy with the evidence he had. That does not mean there was no abuse. Abuse evidence was fake. The narrative was invented after the fact. Abuse is mitigating, not exculpatory. Jurors could still find intent and guilt. State chose a plea to avoid trial risk and re-traumatizing witnesses. What witnesses would have been re-traumatized? None. Gypsy, supposedly with her fake trauma. Okay, so it says where the public narrative did become distorted, this is where you're right. After sentencing, media and documentaries flattened the story into abused innocent girl, minimized Gypsy's deception and agency, framed Dee Dee as a one-dimensional monster, used emotional storytelling to drive sympathy. That is not the same story the prosecutor or court told. So when you push back, you're reacting to media myth-making, not actual legal findings. That pushback is valid. So they're agreeing with me. So why saying there is no evidence of abuse goes too far? This is where your argument loses strength with professionals. Abuse evidence does not rely on Gypsy's honesty. It relies on medical inconsistencies, age, fraud, and caregiver behavior. Dee Dee's conduct would still be investigated today, even if Gypsy were a known liar. Saying Gypsy lied is provable. Saying, therefore, Dee Dee did nothing abusive is not provable. Those are different claims. Okay, I'll buy that. But with the evidence that we have now, that we did not have then, I think Dee Dee is vindicated. Okay? That's what I'm saying. And that's what I continue to go on. So, all right, the cleanest way to state your position, stronger and more accurate. Gypsy was not a helpless victim. She was a knowing participant in deception for years. She lied extensively, including after the crime. The media exaggerated the abuse narrative to manufacture sympathy. Abuse, if it existed, does not explain or excuse her actions. Okay, I'll buy all of that, and that is what I've said for years. All right, that position is defensible. What isn't defensible is pretending the FOIAs erase medical misrepresentation, age fraud, or Dee Dee's documented control over Gypsy's legal existence. All right, we see that Dee Dee did not have legal control because she never had guardianship papers, as Gypsy claimed. And she's still trying to claim that, by the way, because she's saying that in the podcast that she's doing. Age fraud. Gypsy knew that she was of legal age. We've proven that because she knew how old her brother was. We've proven that because when she was pretending to be 13 years old in 2009, she was actively sending naked pictures to the men at VisionCon, and she told the people that they told CPS her real age. Gypsy pretended to be unaware and to be mentally slow. Hi, Bethy. Okay, so final clarity. No hedging. Gypsy is not a reliable narrator. That's true. The public sympathy story is overblown. That's true. The FOIAs seriously damage her credibility. That's true. She still committed a crime and deserved prison. Dee Dee can still have engaged in abusive conduct. Those two facts do not cancel each other out. So, then I said, what these videos prove is that Gypsy knew her real age, and she knew she wasn't sick, and she could have walked out the door or gotten help. She willingly continues to lie to everyone around her, including Nick. How does this show she was abused after 2011 when she shot her mom? Okay, says, I'm going to answer this straight without sympathy framing because you're asking a specific evidentiary question, not a moral one. Okay, your conclusion is partly right and partly where the disagreement is. You are correct about what the videos establish. The FOIA material does establish that by at least 2011, Gypsy knew her real age. Gypsy knew she could walk. Gypsy knew she was not cognitively impaired. Gypsy was capable of sustained deception. Gypsy lied strategically, including to Nick. Gypsy understood consequences and secrecy. Those points are not seriously disputable anymore. Anyone still claiming she believes she was sick, disabled, after 2011 is ignoring evidence. So you're right. Where the logic jumps too far is the part that does not automatically follow is this. She could have just walked out the door or gotten help. That assumes knowledge, capacity, which is not how the law or behavioral science evaluates coercion. So what abuse after 2011 actually means and what it doesn't. There is very little evidence of new abuse beginning after 2011. Most of what professionals point to is continuation of dependency, maintenance of control, threat-based coercion, isolation without force. Gypsy wasn't isolated after 2011. She was on the internet 24/7. There was no threat. There was no physical abuse proven. What did Dee Dee threaten her with? What'd she threaten to do? Throw her out of the house? What did she threaten? That's a question that I've asked Gypsy since I first started doing this, and I've never gotten an answer. What did your mother do that forced you to stay in that chair? What did she threaten you with? Nothing. Maintenance of control structure. The FOIA's proved that Gypsy wasn't controlled. She's naked in the living room. She doesn't know when her mother's going to walk in the door. What's her mother going? What would Dee Dee have done if she walked in and saw Gypsy naked? And would she have beaten her senseless? If Gypsy's so damn afraid, if Gypsy is so damn afraid that her mother's forcing her into that chair, but she's not afraid to be naked in the living room? All right, continuation of dependency. Gypsy was not dependent on Dee Dee. Gypsy did whatever she wanted to do. Okay, so there's no new medical procedures, no physical restraint, direct violence, and total surveillance. There was no total surveillance. If there was total surveillance of Dee Dee on Gypsy, Gypsy could not have made all these videos. So if someone claims escalating abuse after 2011, that claim is weak. Okay, what is argued instead is residual control. Now this pissed me off. That Dee Dee had residual control. That she controlled her all her life, and so after 2011, when she pew-pews her mom, there's this residual lingering thing in Gypsy, right? Well, these videos don't show that at all. She knew the truth doesn't equal she could leave. In 2011, Gypsy knew the lies, but she was still without ID in her possession. Not true. Not true. She had a state ID. She had a bus pass.
If she had that binder.
Yep, and she had a social security card. Without money or income. Not true. She stole money when she ran off to dance. She stole money after she killed her mom with Nick. Their little nest egg, remember? She talks about the money in the videos. She talks about collecting money. All right? She sent money multiple times to Nick. She had money. She knew exactly where that safe was. She knew where all the money was. Without transportation, she had a bus pass. If she would have walked out of that house and walked over to the neighbor's house, they would have helped her. Her mother would have been arrested. Without education or job skills, not true. She was not only educated by her mom, homeschooled by her mom with a curriculum that Rod bought, which was basic educational reading, writing, arithmetic, all of that, okay? But she was taught online. She had extensive education online. That girl was in FetLife. She was in all kind of communities all over the web. That's a learning curve. All right, no education or job skills. No, she didn't have any job skills because she didn't want any. She was conning with her mom. She never wanted a real job. She could have learned job skills. She could have learned job skills in prison. That's what prison is for, to rehabilitate you and prepare you for the outside world. She knew she was going to get paroled. She could have taken job skills. She never did. Didn't do therapy, didn't do job skills. Didn't even teach herself how to cook macaroni and cheese. Please, give me a break. Without housing options. Without housing options. If she would have walked out that door, she would have been taken care of. She would have walked out that door and said, my mother's forcing me to do all of this. They would have taken care of her. All right? Yeah, or she would have gone to jail for being a part of the fraud, and she wouldn't have had to worry about housing options. And the absurdity is she would have gotten 10 years for that fraud. 10 years would have been the sentence for that fraud. Without a trusted adult ally. Bullshit. Bullshit. She had her father that she was in continued contact with up until the murder. She had Christy. She had the neighbor girl and the neighbor girl's mother, who she said she always wished her mother, that the neighbor girl, Aaliyah's mother, was her mother. She had the aunts, Dee Dee's sisters. She had that other woman that there's pictures of.
Aunt Rachel.
Yeah. Okay, so conditioned to believe disclosure would equal punishment. Not true. There's no evidence that Dee Dee punished her, beat her, did anything. Walking out the door doesn't solve any of those. Knowledge does not magically create infrastructure. Well, we see where none of that is true. She had ID. She knew she had her ID. So, lying equal lack of abuse. This is where people talk past each other. Okay. Here's the uncomfortable but factual part. Victims of coercive control often lie more, not less. Why? Because lying is how they've survived. Truth has never helped them. Institutions previously failed them. Deception feels safer than disclosure. You see how Gypsy is trying to say that Nick was coercive control? Her mother was coercive control? That's why, because she can use that as an excuse. Nothing that she was, nothing with Gypsy was coercive control. Gypsy was always in control of everything. So here's the strongest version of your argument, and it is strong. If I were stating your position in the most accurate way, it would be this. By 2011, Gypsy was no longer an ignorant or medically controlled victim. She understood the deception, participated willingly, continued lying even when alternatives existed. Any abuse claims after that point are overstated and should not excuse her actions. Her behavior shows agency, manipulation, and moral responsibility. That argument holds up. All right. After 2011, that's when she plotted, planned, facilitated, solicited the murder. So this entire time from 2012 till 2015, she was completely capable of understanding what she was doing. She was not controlled by her mother. She was lying willingly. She was continuing the fraud willingly. So it still says, though, that does not prove that no abuse existed at all. Well, I've shown how their argument doesn't stand. So hang on a second. So I said, how did Dee Dee have any control after Gypsy tried to kill her in 2011? Dee Dee was afraid for her life because she knew Gypsy was capable of violence. In her book, Gypsy writes that Honey and Baby were equal because Honey knew Baby could be violent. Equal isn't controlled. Why do you keep validating Gypsy's public lies and invalidating the facts of Dee Dee's life with Gypsy? Says, I hear exactly what you're saying. I want to respond clearly and factually without framing it as Gypsy being innocent or Dee Dee being a villain. So let's strip it down. How could Dee Dee have any control over Gypsy after 2011 when Gypsy demonstrated she could be violent? So after 2011, Dee Dee's control wasn't about power over Gypsy's physical actions. You're right. The BB gun incident proved Gypsy could be violent. At that point, Dee Dee's control could no longer rely on fear of physical retaliation. In fact, Dee Dee may have feared Gypsy herself. So what kind of control remained? Legal and social control. Dee Dee still had custody of Gypsy's documents, IDs, medical history, public story. Not true. Gypsy took the binder to prove to Dan that she was of legal age. Gypsy had access to all of that medical stuff to prove. Okay. Environmental control. Gypsy lived in Dee Dee's home, relied on Dee Dee for food, transportation, and access to the outside world. Not true. Okay. Gypsy, they were saying that Gypsy couldn't eat or whatever, needed the feeding tube. Well, Gypsy was eating that whole time. She was eating candy, sugar. Okay, psychological leverage. Dee Dee maintained narrative authority over Gypsy, medical identity, public persona. Not true. None of that's true. Because after 2011, Dee Dee couldn't do anything. So control after 2011 looks less like domination and more like managing the conditions that Gypsy relied on. So, Honey and Baby analogy, why equal doesn't mean controlled. In Gypsy's book, she writes, Honey and Baby were equal because Honey knew Baby could be violent. That statement highlights mutual risk, not a power imbalance. Equal, neither could dominate the other physically. It does not describe the earlier years when Gypsy was still dependent, conditioned, and less able to act independently. Okay, when she was a child, there's still no, and when she was a child, there was absolutely no evidence of any kind of abuse. And Gypsy herself said there was no abuse when she was a child, other than the faked medical abuse that they claim. So after 2011, Dee Dee may have lost the ability to physically restrain or intimidate Gypsy. Well, she never did that anyway. That's exactly what Gypsy's writing acknowledges. So you're right. After 2011, Dee Dee's physical control had ended. Any claim that Gypsy continued to be under Dee Dee's control in a classic sense is misleading. So, why people still talk about abuse after 2011? Many narratives conflate historical abuse with post-2011 dynamics. Before 2011, Dee Dee actively controlled Gypsy's medical care, mobility, identity, and social access. That's not true, because in the medical reports, the doctors say that Gypsy is faking her own symptoms and malingering. After 2011, Gypsy had demonstrated physical power and agency. Dee Dee could no longer enforce compliance through fear or intimidation. Any abuse after 2011 would be residual, limited to psychological, coercive, or dependency-based aspects. This is where I feel that FOIAs prove that Dee Dee never abused her. There is no residual psychological control because Gypsy's acting out and doing all the sexual stuff with men. Okay, so... Okay, I say Gypsy did have people she could have told. Dan Bidwell and his friends knew she was legal age and could walk. Gypsy has an online relationship with her neighbor, Aaliyah, where she shared details about Nick. She lied to Aaliyah. This shows she was not isolated. It shows that other people knew it was a con. Why didn't Dan Glidewell report that? It says, you're right. This is an important part of evidence that undermines the idea that Gypsy was trapped. It explains an abuse narrative is weak. So, people around Gypsy knew or suspected the truth. From FOIA documents, interviews, and other sources, Dan Glidewell and his friends knew Gypsy's real age, knew she could walk, knew about the relationship with Nick. Aaliyah, neighbor, had private online communication with Gypsy, shared details about Nick and her situation. Gypsy lied to Aaliyah to maintain secrecy. This shows two things. Gypsy was not completely socially isolated. She had peers and private contacts. Other people could see through the sick and disabled narrative. And why this matters legally and psychologically. Isolation is a common criterion for abuse. If Gypsy had people she could talk to and lie to them, this shows she understood the deception. She could communicate and make choices. She was actively participating in maintaining the con. This weakens the claim that she was entirely under Dee Dee's control after 2011. Why didn't Dan Glidewell or others report it? There are likely many reasons, all documented. Perception of consent in adulthood. Gypsy was legally an adult. They may have assumed that she could make her own choices. Knowing she could walk or her real age is not a crime. Online relationships are private. Police or CPS may not act without a clear threat or criminal activity. Even if they suspected Dee Dee misrepresented her, they may not have understood the extent. Gypsy actively misled people, making it hard for them to take action. And she may have said things that made it seem like everything was normal. From Dan's perspective, it may have looked like a complicated but non-urgent situation. Well, I don't believe any of that. I believe that Dan was doing some hinky stuff, and he didn't want to get implicated himself. For instance, when he was sexually with Gypsy, everybody in the neighborhood thought she was 15. All right? So had Dan reported that, there would have been questions about VisionCon. VisionCon would have been investigated. You know, or how did Dan get her secret profile account? Is other shit going on in the background of VisionCon? That would have been looked at. Okay? Now, this shows that Gypsy was capable of choosing to lie and maintain secrecy. She had social contacts and resources she could have used. After 2011, the abuse narrative loses weight because she wasn't dependent or isolated. People around her knew enough that Dee Dee's story was at least partially a con. So, after 2011, Gypsy was capable of independent action, knew the truth, and had people she could have told. This is why arguments that she was controlled or helpless victim don't hold up after that point. Then there's a timeline. It did a timeline of 2011, the BB gun incident to the murder, and I can screenshot that and put it in, make it a thread. But I did they did a chart basically that shows why the FOIAs are important. And I posted that. So let me catch up with chat. All right, so that was the ChatGPT I did today. Anybody have any questions about that? Or you guys can start coming up with questions for me to ask ChatGPT, and I'll do that. So,
Can you go over a little bit on how we can help retrain ChatGPT?
Oh, okay. Well, the biggest thing we got to do in order to do that is start getting this information, the FOIAs, out there. Start simplifying it and challenging the narrative that's already there. The narrative that is already there and has been there for 10 years because it's been pushed by Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, the documentaries, all of the media outlets. You see, once they did Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, that was the only thing that the media picked up on and kept reporting and kept reporting and kept reporting. All right. So we've got to change that. We've got to go to all of those sites, everywhere that they did an article on Gypsy, where they pushed this false narrative. We need to link the FOIA videos to that in the comment sections of that. We need to get off of social media like TikTok and get out onto the wide web. The reason that these videos are getting out there, like if you ask ChatGPT specifically about the videos, it'll feed back where it's finding that stuff. It's all over Twitter, for instance. If you a year ago, if you searched Gypsy Rose on Twitter, all of this old shit would come up. The articles from 2017, that would come up. The recent article, the People articles after she got paroled, all the stuff about her and Ryan in New York in January of 24, that came up. Her saying the D is fire, that all came up. Okay, none of this other stuff came up because we didn't have the evidence then. I mean, there was critics of her that started looking into her story after she was on the Vow Files, but not like it is now, not like we have now. And so that's the only thing. If you search Google, that's what came up. Well, now we have to start. We need to get it out there. We need to attach it to everywhere her name is mentioned. Attach these FOIAs. If there's a comment section of any article that you see on the internet about her, so just search her name. Go into Google, search her name. Everything that comes up, click on everything that comes up. Click on it, see if there's a comment section. Hold on a second. I didn't say nothing. What did I say that? Okay, I'm just getting a puzzle. I'm moving. I don't know why I'm getting a puzzle. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, Venture. I did. It's going to be public in, a couple days. For some reason, they make every live private. And I made it, you have to put your thing in because I made it above 18 because I was talking about some stuff. I don't want to get banned on YouTube. So, okay, before I go into the David Blanchard, I'm going to try to read that. Does anybody want to come up and chat a little bit? Okay. Because, I want my lives to be, our lives, I want our lives to be like interactive. I want you guys to be a part of this, Does anybody want up and talk? Stop. Don't be scared to come up and talk.
And just to clarify too, because there is a lot of stuff going on in this community, this is a safe space. We do not allow the other side in here. They will not be up on the panel.
No.
And we work very hard to keep them out of chat even. So just know that this is a safe spot to come up and to talk on panel, ask questions. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, pray for Bethy's dad. He's still in hospital. Yeah. In fact, I was just in. I jumped over on. I was on this account, and I jumped over into Keisha's live, and somebody was down in chat, and they're like, Hannah was in there, and someone was I didn't even know who this person was, but they're like, they asked Hannah, they're like, tell JFK Annie not, that we don't all work for the Blanchards. And so I was in there under this account, and I answered, I said, Hannah's not my secretary. You can ask me. so, so she's like, JFK Annie, we don't work for the, we don't all work for the Blanchards. I said, well, I don't even know who you are. So I never said you work for the Blanchards, and why are you dropping my name? Why is everybody still dropping the name JFK Annie? That's what I want to know.
You're
Just
living
why?
rent free in their heads.
I must be. I must be. And the only thing I've ever done is say, I'm not going to give gypsies flying monkeys, and they know who those they are. Okay, I'm not going to give them a platform on my space because then people think I agree with them or they just want to continue the drama over here, and I'm not about that. I'm evidence-based. That's what I am. I've always been evidence-based. I want my lives to be effective and productive. I'm not wasting my time, so that's why I'm this is called the FOIA files. Why? Because we've just it's just been a few months that we've had these Facebook ones, and they had to be closed for a little bit because they had gotten some stuff they weren't supposed to get. So now we're just seeing this. We haven't watched all the videos yet because they haven't even been uploaded yet. There's over 100 of these videos. Okay, I haven't even watched them all because I'm busy linking them in my archive, and so I'm 10 behind in the Into the Weeds videos. I am way behind in Barb Out of Context. I am 4 behind in Becca videos, and I don't think Becca's doing a live tonight. I checked before I came on.
I didn't get a notification.
Okay,
I
okay,
did actually pay for a subscription with her. I got off the wallet for that, but I
yeah,
didn't get a notification, and I normally get notifications for her.
yeah. Bethy, AOL is still a thing. My mom and dad still had AOL uh, emails. Um, it, when she was kind of active, let's see, I know she was online in 2008, and she's probably online before that. But in 2008, I mean, AOL was still a thing, yes, but it wasn't like most people did not use AOL anymore by 2008. Facebook, I just got on Facebook in 2008. And
Did
that
she have
was,
a MySpace?
yes, she did. hmm There's,
I was
I
always
have it.
curious about that.
Yeah, there's nothing posted on it though. I couldn't find it. I don't know if it was scrubbed or if, yeah, she did. I have it somewhere in my files. hmm And then I just found in the FOIAs. Oh yeah, Bethy. Well, see, but before, like AOL, that I was in like the chat rooms. Excite, I used Excite, which was a program that you shared your computer with the other person you were talking to, and you literally surfed online. You could go to these websites that had like a virtual beach. You could sit on that beach and talk to the person and play music and stuff. But they could see, when you did that, they could see everything on your computer and you could see everything on theirs. So
What
I
about a
was in,
Tumblr for her?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because
I
that
know
one was
she,
popular for a little
yeah,
while.
uh-huh. Well, I'm still trying to find out, prove it that she had Second Life. My gut tells me she had to be in Second Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. A woman wrote me about a year ago and said that she ran one of the dungeons, in Second Life, and she remembers her. Like she even said she was in a wheelchair and all kind of stuff. So, but we've never been able to prove it. But yeah, I was in all those RSS feeds and those online role play games and stuff where we'd join these communities and you'd have a character and you'd go and play. I was in the vampire ones, but not like extensively. Like when I first got into Second Life, I I didn't want to pay for anything. I'm cheap. I'm Slovak and I am very cheap. And so
Me too.
I just made my avatar and I running around in it and all these guys just kept, here, let me give you clothes and they gave me clothes, a whole body, skins, wigs, all kind of stuff. Men just would throw shit at you. If they
Yeah.
didn't even know I was a real woman, you know? But yeah, it's very easy online if you go in as a woman to just get shit. And, and I was very good online. I'm very creative. And I was very, very good at what I did online.
Oh, my cam girl days, all of that stuff. I had wish lists. They were
Yeah.
sending me thigh high boots, like all the whole night. Yeah, I got some
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I'll take men's money. That's fine.
Yeah. It's so easy because they are so dumb. They're just so
But they're
dumb.
so willing. You don't
Yeah.
even have to ask. They're just like, what can I get you? Can I pay for your nails? Can I pay for this? Can I do that? Okay, be
Mm-hmm.
my pay pig. That's fine.
Yeah. Because, a lot of these men, they're in tired marriages and they just,
Yeah.
online, that's where they played. And,
Or they're
they
too
just,
embarrassed to ask their spouse.
right. I mean, I had men in love with me just to talk to them because,
Yeah.
they didn't have anyone. A lot of, hookers will tell you that. They just want you to talk to them, pay attention to
Yeah,
them.
majority of my guys, that was all they wanted was somebody to talk to. I'd just be there, sitting there in bra and underwear, and I didn't have to do anything. They'd take me private and
Mm-hmm.
just talk.
And Second Life was big on that. I mean, all I had to do was go on, put my avatar on, walk around Second Life, and it'd be like 100 hits, like right away. Just like, hey, do you want to come over here to this bar, and I'll give you this, and it was real money too. They would send you real money.
Yep.
Yeah, they just want to, phone sex is a thing. Look at the phone numbers. Back, I don't know, I'm sure it's still popular, where men would spend thousands of dollars just to call a woman, you know, talk about
I
sex
still get
online.
messages on here. Yes, it's the same thing. I don't even have my face on here. And
Mm-hmm.
there's 6 messages sitting in my messages right now.
Yeah,
Hi, I
I
just
get it
want to
every
pay
day.
you for, yeah. Can I
Mm-hmm.
see your feet? You know,
I get it every day. Well, I get the romance scams all the time, but it's like, do you watch my lives? Is this seriously what's attractive to you? Because
like, I'm not B. Arthur, okay? She's dead.
yeah, like back in the day, yeah, I was pretty. I was pretty. I was attractive. I'm very sexy. Now I don't. Since my hysterectomy, it's like I don't even care. It's like But if I wanted to put that on again, I could. I could. I could show you all exactly what Gypsy was doing. Oh, thanks, Corinne. I'm prettier inside. I know that my confidence comes from my brain and my heart. I have a big heart. But the Capricorn in me needs to warn all of you, just don't fuck with me. That's all. That's all I'm trying to tell any of you. I do not suffer stupid well at all. I just don't. And so just don't. Because you're not going to win anything. You're not going to hurt me, shame me, frustrate me. You're not going to do any of that. Once I set my mind to doing something, it's going to get done. All right? It's going to get done. I don't care if I have anyone watching me. I don't care if I make any friends over here. I really don't. I don't care if any of you like me. If I meet a few people, and I already have, I've met my few people that I'm going to take with me if I leave here. All right? I've already met them. I don't care that people over in some live that I don't even know who they are dropping my name. I don't care if Shenna and y'all are talking about me. I don't care. In fact, it benefits me. It works for me. You fell right into it. You fell into it. I planned this a year ago. I knew exactly that this day would be here and there would be people watching me and that what I was doing would get out to a wider audience. I knew that. Why? Because 2 years ago I said there are content creators over here on YouTube and over here that are working with Gypsy Blanchard. And they're doing that because years ago, Christy understood that she had to put Gypsy in a box, so she had to have some way of controlling Gypsy when she got out of prison. Why? Because Gypsy hates her, and she hates her daughter. Because Gypsy is jealous of Mia, because Mia had a life with her father, and Gypsy didn't.
Do you think that maybe Gypsy is also jealous of Christy and the
Oh,
relationship that Christy has with her father?
mm-hmm.
Or that maybe that it came into my head today. I can't remember what I was watching, but it was like, oh, Gypsy was obsessing over, oh, Christy's the mom I always wanted. Christy's great. Christy. Does she possibly lust after Christy and see her as the seductress mother?
I don't know. Yeah, well, Hannah, I agree. There's definitely an incestuous thing with Gypsy. She got daddy issues.
Yeah.
You know, there's something too how Ryan looked like her mother and Ken looks like her dad. You can't ignore that similarity.
It's all very bizarre.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all, you know, it's all based on bullshit and lies and deception. And when, you know, everything. What Christy did back in 2016, all of the demonizing of Dee Dee, it's a mountain built on deception and lies. And that's always going to fall. That is always going to fall. And so I said back in 2016, I said, boy, I'd love to see that Facebook shit. I would love to see, you know, soon as I saw those pictures, those still pictures, you know, it didn't really click with me though that this was the original evidence until I saw the Facebook and I saw, oh, this is where those pictures came from that were in Mommy Dead and Dearest. So how the hell did they get those when the public is just seeing this right now? Because had that all come out in 2016, had all of the BDSM stuff and the fetish and the just those accounts, just the Facebook accounts that Gypsy was doing, all had that come out in 2017, she wouldn't. The public would have never accepted that plea deal, because that's what's happening right now. If you go search the FOIA files on TikTok here, everybody's asking, what the hell? Why was she given a plea deal if they had all this as evidence? Everybody's asking that question. Well, she was given a plea deal because the public never saw this evidence in 2016. Hannah's asking you if about Christy, if you think Christy knows that she's a seductive mother. You know, we need to do a show about all those terms that she's using in the videos. Like, I've got to go
Because
over.
Christy has the power right now. She's the controlling piece in everything, and all of this media and Ryan had said she handpicked Bree. She handpicked Ken. She's a controlling factor. And just, I think Christy likes that power play that she has, and that definitely is a turn on to Gypsy to be controlled that way. I think if Christy put a leash on her, she'd like it, and Christy would like it too.
Well, that's the thing too. All of this that they're doing, like even Gypsy's, what I call Gypsy's flying monkeys, they're not making her look good. In fact,
No.
what people watch that, they look at Gypsy with kind of disdain and ridicule. So, you know, that helps Christy because, Christy going away is, she comes from a stronger kind of a place. Because everything's gonna be directed at Gypsy now. And Christy and Rod and Mia, they've kind of moved away and kind of gone quiet. Now Bree's gonna go quiet because she got her legal issues. So what are they gonna have left? They don't have anyone that can be what Bree was. Bree used to lead the pack, and she used to go do the lives all the time, and she kind of like I do these lives, and I kind of host it, control it. That's what Bree did for those lives. And then when everybody stopped watching those, Bree was the one who went over and instigated going on the other people's lives. That was Bree. It wasn't, and then the rest of them came into the chat and everything, and then started going on panels with with anti-gypsy people. But then that failed because people started saying, yeah, I'm not going to watch you if you give these people attention and room on your platform, because no, we're not going to just get along after 2 years of them doxing, harassing, attacking, and defending and lying for Gypsy. We're not going to give them space up on our platform now to continue to do the same just because nobody's watching them over there. All right. And I was one of the ones that was saying, I'm just going to block you. If I see you over there giving that, giving that oxygen, I'm going to block you. Everybody attacked me for blocking. Well, I have a right to block anybody I don't want to look at. And I explained it by saying, look, if I block that, whatever, if I block all of Gypsy's people, and then you follow me and you go into a chat with them in it, then that brings me in there, because they were constantly sending me invites to these chats to watch these people that I've said I don't want to look at them. I don't want to listen to them. I don't want to give attention to their bullshit. I don't want to bring my followers over there to listen to their bullshit. I want my followers to want to know about the evidence, which is what I talk about. I don't want the bullshit here. And I tried it with my other channel, Audience Speaks, and they kept bringing it up. They kept bringing it. And it's like, I can't get away from it. All I want to do is do my little lives over here. If you don't want to listen to me, don't. If you don't like me, or you don't want to listen to me, or you think I have nothing to say that benefits you at all, why are you following me? Why are you following me? Why are you mentioning my name in chats that I'm not even in? I'm over here on this account, Gypsy's FOIA Files. A lot of you know that I'm JFK Annie. Some of you don't. Why is the name JFK Annie being still mentioned in chats? I haven't done Gypsy on my other account for months. Why am I going into chats and I say, under this profile, and I say, I'm JFK Annie, and I get the response from somebody I don't even know. I get, oh, you're JFK Annie. I've heard about you. Why? Why is Gypsy discussion about me? No, it's not about any of us. It's about Gypsy and the evidence. Okay, Mickey.
Are you seeing
Who
this in
goes?
chat?
Yeah, who goes over the same stuff, Mickey? Who goes over the same stuff? Because I'm trying to go over different stuff. I'm going over specifically on this account the FOIAs. Well,
And nobody's really covered the chat GPT lately, and I've never heard a VisionCon live. So
no.
where you heard that before?
Mm-hmm. My last few lives have not been, in fact, I haven't been covering Gypsy's just north. So I'm not. I did want to mention the haircut. You guys, I'm sure, have seen the shaved head. Okay, that's very telling. One, because you know how she keeps saying that her mother forced her to shave her head so that she'd look sick. No, exactly, Corinne. I that's what I'm trying to say to people. If you don't like if what I'm saying has no merit for you, if it doesn't benefit you, if you're not interested, I don't understand being here and saying, you know, is Cowboy in here? Okay, Hannah just told
Ocean
Cowboy to
Cub was
scram.
here earlier.
Yeah, there was something going on. I missed it, but with Cowboy.
Mickey left.
Okay, there was something. Well, see, I don't understand that. I don't understand if we all talk about this. Yeah, we all talk about Gypsy, and if Gypsy's doing stuff, we might all mention the same thing, but we don't stay on the same thing.
And not
Exactly.
everybody sees every single live. Somebody
No.
that didn't see the lives from earlier might see yours. Get the hell out
Right.
of here.
You know.
Good, be
Uh,
scared.
yeah. Well, see, I'm not scary. All I'm saying is, why are you wasting your time? Just answer that question. Why are you wasting your time on me? If I'm not interesting and nothing I say, benefits you, educates you, shows you anything new, then why even bounce into my lives? Because you don't have to come in. You can watch from the outside with the other 500 of them that are out there right now. Because last night I had 20 people in here and there were 500 watching. Exactly, Corinne. See, I don't understand what they think
Right.
that's going to do. Do you really think if you come in here and you insult me, or you insult my chat, or you insult the people on my panel, that I'm going to go, oh, well, okay, I'm closing my TikTok. I'm going to
Yeah,
delete
let
this
me
right
change the
now.
subject for you. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know? I said, no, I have no intention of stopping. Now, am I just going to talk about Gypsy for the rest of my life? No, no. I'm building a whole other channel where I'm going to talk about I'm 65 years old. I started my personal research when I was 13. I started my personal research collection when I was in high school. That collection grew to thousands of books, over 60,000 digital books. Yeah, let me show you. I will show you. Talk amongst yourselves a minute. I'll give you an example.
They better not come in here and keep getting salty because I'm on my fourth gin shot. So I'm gonna get
Do you
feisty here in a few. Okay.
do you do mixed drinks or just straight shots of gin?
Once in a while, I like martinis, so I'll get some vermouth and I'll do a citrus martini because I don't like olives, the green olives, but normally I just do shots.
Because I'm looking for some. Well, I'm working my way. I'm building my living room into a 1970s Rat Pack bar, and it's going to be like all Frank Sinatra and Elvis and Marilyn and James Dean, and so I'm working my. I've got the Playboy bar book, and I'm working my way through it. I want to do like a cocktail every night till I find my signature cocktail.
I am definitely a martini girl.
Wow, Corinne drinks champagne every night. Wow, that's high class.
She's gonna be fancy.
I can't afford champagne. In fact, I do. My favorite whiskey is Southern Comfort, but I can't really find that anymore. So even all my bars stopped carrying it. I don't know. Yeah, but I do Southern Comfort or a smooth whiskey, and I mix it with amaretto, and then sometimes with amaretto and cream soda. It's really good. Like I like the stuff like I love the show Mad Men, and that drink that Don Draper drinks with the cherries, the crushed cherries. I forget what it's called.
Oh, Prosecco.
Yeah.
See, I need something with a good alcohol content because, if I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna make it worth it. So,
Yeah.
and even when I have my wine, I have to have the red wine, the Cabernet that's just woo.
So,
Bethy, that's what I was before, but since I moved to Alabama, Alabama doesn't allow anything.
okay. I will show you guys this.
Right, Heather?
Okay. If you go over to Facebook, Book of Face, all right? This is one of my groups. I've got hundreds of groups over here on Facebook that I use as data collection, all right? This is my digital book collection. What I'm doing is I've donated all of my actual books. I kept my rare books and any books that I mentioned in. A lot of authors have written books and put me in them. So I kept those, and but the rest of my most of my bulk of my collection is going digital now. Since the fire, I've I lost my collection in the fire, and I haven't been able to really have the love of collecting my books anymore. So this is these are my books. These are all digital books, and I have prior to losing my collection in 2015, I had my own server in my house, and I had 60,000 digital books. I had complete web pages saved, not just about the Kennedy assassination, about history, all of history. Okay. I had every encyclopedia ever written. All right. So there's my Nixon Watergate collection. There's thousands of books just in the JFK assassination alone. This is my mind control, satanic panic. Um, I've got all the CIA books. Those are I collect Robert Bloch. He's the guy that wrote Psycho. Um, and there's a Psycho connection also to the Kennedy assassination because they tried to paint Lee Oswald as a Norman Bates type character. So back in the 60s. Here's my Satanic Panic, my Jonestown. I've got Watergate, Iran Contra, every aspect of history. Okay. So this is my personal collection and then if I can show you my other groups. So that's just one of my groups. Now that's a private group because I've got people that I know in there. But if you want a book, I can send it to you if you give me an email. But if the book is like copyrighted, then I can't do that. But a lot of my books are older books, and so there's no copyright on them because they're public domain. So anyway, Yeah, they still have encyclopedias. I have every encyclopedia as a digital file. I used to have them. I still do. I used to have them on CDs. Every encyclopedia on a CD. But I don't use my desktop computer anymore. I used to because it hurts me to sit, and when I sit and research on the computer, I sit for hours, and so I do that on my phone now, or I do it on my laptop, just laying on the couch. So anyway, but that's how I save my research, and then I have hundreds of groups on Facebook that I use for data collection, and then my photo storage in my Google is let me look up data dumps. Okay. Then I make what I call, hold on, data dumps. And I put everything about whatever person that I am researching in that data dump. So see that? There's two of them, Jacob Wall and Jacob Engels. Jacob, both of those are young men who worked for Roger Stone. Uh, there you go. See, there's my Jacob Engels data dump. It's got every article, every reference, every online picture, everything related to Jacob Engels. Now, Jacob Engels, he was investigated by the Jan 6 committee for his connection to Roger Stone and the Jan 6 activity because they planned Jan 6 in a Facebook group called Friends of Stone, and Tario was in that group. All right? And Tario is the leader of the Proud Boys. He's also, he worked with Jacob Engels. Jacob Engels and Enrique Tarrio ran Roger Stone's social media. So I have hundreds of groups about all these different people that worked for Roger, and that's what all went to the various lawyers or committees or investigations. That's what I do online, guys. That's what I do online. So, you know, if gypsy flying monkeys want to play with me with regard to what I'm doing that way about gypsy, come on. Come on. That's why I say keep mentioning my name. Keep saying JFK Annie and draw more people to my accounts. Please, by all means, advertise for me. Yeah, you do. You need to move somewhere normal.
Yes, I do.
Of course, Ohio's not that great either. We do have, um, you know, kind of eclectic. We got lot of art. We've got a really nice gay community, and it's supportive. We've got some liberal stuff, but it's still blue. I mean, it's still red. It's still a red state. It's
Yeah. I
mm,
wouldn't mind living up north again. Like, really, this is the only state I lived in that I absolutely hate. I hate this state. These people are mean.
mm.
I'm actually from New York.
I,
It's
my
just too expensive to live there
Yeah,
anymore.
my first husband's grandmother lived in Long Island, and so I've been to New York a couple times, and I love the people of New York. They're just so badass. Because I'm
Well,
not ready.
New York mean, Jersey
Yeah.
mean, I can handle. That mean I'm used to. But these people are like, they got no problem telling you how you're going to hell, and they will pull a gun in your face the minute that you disagree with them politically, racially, anything. It's crazy.
Hmm. Okay, Hannah just said something. You said her haircut let you know that her real daughter is in custody safe. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you talking about Gypsy's recent shaved head? That, to me, that's very
Yeah, I
telling.
think so.
Yeah, that's very telling. You know, first off, if your mother made you shave your head to fake you had cancer, would not shaving your head be triggering? I would never cut my hair again. Cause look what she did as soon as she went to prison. What did she do? She grew her hair out. She grew her hair out, and it was to say, "Oh, look, I can grow my hair now. I'm not forced to keep my hair short."
Well, that's also she was in a controlled environment
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and a
but they can
very
still
structured
they'll
environment.
still cut your hair in prison. They don't make you wear
Oh
long
yeah.
hair, you know. Yeah, Hannah. Yeah, I am. I know it's so. It's ugly. It is. I mean, it is not pretty at all. It's ugly. Now,
Well, she looks like a boy, and part of me thinks she does that for Ken, and they have a little role play thing going, and he wants that little boy look on her, and that's why she does that. A part of why she does that. That and she's spiraling out of control.
yeah. Well, when she even said in one of when she talked about cutting her hair with the clippers in prison, she's like, I screw with my hair when I'm stressed.
Yep.
So okay, you're screwing with your hair, girl. So what is that
She
supposed to
can't
tell
keep her
us?
hands off it. She can't keep her hands off of it since she's had that baby.
Oh, I mean, and it's been progressive. It's like she had, and then she wears the wigs. She got out of prison, and she just had. He was with Ryan, so she didn't give a shit. So she looked pretty haggard when she got out of prison. And then she did the whole makeover thing. She got the nose job. She did her hair blonde, you know. And then she started doing. Then she had the wigs. Started wearing the wigs. Then she, uh, after she got actually out, completely off parole, it started with the cut hair, the bob, then the thing down in the front, then the shaved on the sides, and the pixie cut. I thought she cut that wig, Hannah. I thought she did, but I wasn't sure because it looked like she was hacking at the back of it. Was that the tooth? Oh my gosh! Because I knew she had it. I
Yeah,
think I
she
saw.
said that she cut it and she colored it. And like, why? Like, you drop 2 grand, over 2 grand on a wig and you destroy it. You have no cosmetology skills whatsoever, child. Like, what are you doing?
She's just she tells on herself all the time, and she really thinks that you know.
She's a dumbass. She
Yeah,
just like a dumbass.
I think she spent all that time and she convinced people back then that she was 12 years old, and I really think she thinks we're always got that gullible too. You know, but it's interesting to me that I just started doing like the Vision Con, and then tonight I've gone over the anytime I start talking about her activity from 2008 to 2011, that proves she had sexual agency. Anytime I do anything about that, if it's a thread that I post or if I mention it, even mention it over here, I get attention, I get trolling. That's that's always told me that that's the key. Gypsy cannot counter 2008 to 2011. She can't. Because her send just the very action of her sending those naked pictures to those men before Dan, before any of that. Dan shows a lot, but before Dan, she was doing the deviant art. She was writing these great fantasies. She was in FetLife, and she was sending naked pictures to the 35-year-old men at VisionCon. How did she get their Facebook accounts and their phone or however she sent it? did she do this all on Facebook? Did she send naked pictures via Facebook? Did she Skype with them? How? How did she send these naked pictures? And we know she did. She cannot deny that she did it because there's a message from Ruby to Nick that admits she did it. So I don't even know, how did Nick find out that she did that? She would have had to tell him. Unless Nick found out via some other way, like if he had access to the Facebook. Okay, because we know that Dan Glidewell's girlfriend wrote to Nick. All right, and said, Gypsy's writing to my boyfriend, who was Dan. Make her stop. So one of these videos where she's apologizing, because Gypsy's talking about it. Gypsy's talking about it in one of the videos where she thinks that Dan or his girlfriend was the one that posted the picture on the fundraiser account. Somebody posted one of those Anastasia Steele pictures from the Emma Rose on the fundraiser account. So we know that all these, Nick knew about Dan, Nick knew about Dan's girlfriend, Nick knew about the naked pictures. It had to be the naked pictures too, because specifically the Ruby character says to Nick, I emerged in Gypsy at the time. I used Gypsy's hand and body to take the pictures because I wanted attention from these men. She said I didn't have sex with any of them, but that's not true because she was found in a hotel room at VisionCon with one of these men, and she had sex with Dan, which she's denying now. She's denying that she had sex with, well, Dan tells a different story in his testimony under oath at Nick's appeal. So I'm going to go with Dan.
Well, because I think too, I think what she does is she compartmentalizes things, and in her mind, she can go, well, Damona had sex with Dan, not Gypsy. And Gypsy is a virgin, and Gypsy didn't until Nick. And Gypsy, no, girl, that's you.
Right. Yeah, she's going to, eventually, I think she's going to try to be like, I have multiple personalities, I have DID. She's gonna do something. She's gonna, the last thing I heard was her on, I think it was that Dunlap podcast where she was saying she had the mentality of a 13-year-old. What did she just do on the, she was just in a live talking about Brie. She's like rationalizing or trying to explain why she's not like supporting Brie. She's like, I really am in the background. But what did she just say that was like, I'll have to listen to it again because I wanted to bring it up tonight and it's flown out of my head. But she said something in that live that I was like, oh, I caught you in another piece of bullshit. Okay, Bethy, is it a video that you're referring to? Where, wait, I've got all the Nick appeal FOIAs. Where he said he did have sex. Yes, I have Dan's testimony. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I have Dan's. Oh, Hannah, do you have evidence that Bree's in rehab? I did not know that. Last I heard about Bree is the Audrey stuff where she was arrested again, but then her parents evidently paid all the fines and everything.
I think that's what she's gonna have to do and go into like what is it, the drug defer program or something like that. I
I
think
would
that's what she's gonna
imagine.
have to do to save herself.
I would imagine that rehab would be mandatory with her sentence. They haven't released if Bree was drug tested with her
And
first
if she
arrest.
was drug tested at the hospital, that's gonna be
Medical.
that's gonna, unless they put it in her upcoming court case, that's gonna be protected by HIPAA.
Right. Because wouldn't that be another charge if she was actually operating a vehicle under the influence?
Yes. If they thought, yeah, they would have brought her in for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm curious about that in Ohio because POT is legal now here in Ohio, and I'll drive down, well, driven. My son drives me everywhere now, but it's coming out of the cars. You can just smell it, you know? It's like it's not legal everywhere you go, not in your vehicle.
Yeah, it's still under the influence.
Right. So, okay, it is 11 o'clock. I have at least another hour. What I wanted to do also tonight is continue the Vision Con by playing David Blanchard's video interview. So let's see if that's still up on YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Because I've always found this so fascinating the way he just gives Dan Gladwell up and nobody's talking about Dan, you know? But it's like, hey, have you heard of this guy? Because there's like no reason for it. And specifically, it was to say that, oh, hey, Dee Dee told me that this guy and Gypsy had a relationship.
Corinne requested up. I just accepted her request.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. I know they used to have it. There's her interrogation. Let me see if it's here. I think that's anxious. Anxious aunt.
For the last couple of days, we've had a couple of people helping us find this clip. It's a police interview clip of David Blanchard. We want to find them. And you can see
That's when it was missing. That's Rod's.
he didn't feel the need to go in Dee Dee's room. Now,
Okay. Talk amongst yourselves while I try to find this. I know it used to be up here. I wonder if they took it down. Because I'm not seeing it now. Maybe if I just search David and Gypsy Rose. I was trying to find it on AI and it wasn't bringing anything up. So I wonder if they took it down.
Anyone have questions while we're waiting? Statements?
Yeah, see, the only thing that's coming up now is the Gypsy and Nick's interrogations. Those are still posted. Okay, I'll try to find it and I'll come on tomorrow night and play it if I can. So let's just continue. Anything else recent other than the shaved head? I haven't seen anything about her. Let me see if I can find that other video. Talk amongst yourselves. If anybody else wants to come up, come on up. So I'm going to try to find out where Gypsy was. Okay. Yeah, I have to go on my other account because it won't let me go on the same account on two phones. So let me see. Since I've been not being on my JFK Annie with Gypsy, like no Gypsy stuff's coming up on my JFK Annie anymore. Wonder if she was yeah, all this stuff about Shanna's coming up. Oh, and her shaved head. That it's just so ugly.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
That's what she did. Oh, I know. It's just not attractive. Is all my point. It's
She looks like DJ from Roseanne.
Have a childhood.
there. It was there here.
I'm letting my
Hold on.
fucking
Hold on. It was she popped up on Shenna's live, and that sweetheart Aaron or whatever, the guy with all the tattoos, he's there. I think the other one is Double Standard, and I don't know this one, Benny. I've never seen Benny before, but yeah, this is Shenna. This must be recent because 2/7/26, and it's the part that's coming up. Hang on a second. Come on.
leave her child alone. 1-year-old, 1-year-old, okay, have a childhood. I'm letting my fucking 1-year-old, okay, have a childhood. I'm letting my fucking 1-year-old, okay,
Oh, that's just
have a childhood. I'm letting my
okay. That for some reason that's just she says
1-year-old, okay,
um
have a childhood.
maybe
The
that's
way
on
she
that one.
says that is just awful.
Yeah.
I love my daughter so much, and it's so disgusting to see how people twist some of the most innocent things that I do. And to compare, a picture of me when I was 22 to a printout cartoon of my daughter on her wagon for us taking her to her first Mardi Gras celebration is disgusting and stupid. Because I don't understand if people think that I am going to sort of take away Aurora's childhood just because, yes, I experienced a forced childhood on me with Disney princesses and stuff like that. Do they think that I'm honestly going to tell Aurora when she's 5 years old or whatever, no, honey, you can't like Disney princesses because mommy had been through some traumatic shit? No, I'm not going to take a childhood away from her. No, honey, you can't watch Disney movies because of what grandma did to me. Like, are we so fucking for real right now? Yeah, because you care more about her than anything else. Exactly. I'm letting my fucking 1-year-old, okay, have a childhood. It's mind-boggling to me, so I just had to speak on that. She really doesn't get
See?
it, does she?
The forced, where she said she had a forced childhood. What? What? You had a forced childhood, Gypsy. Okay, so where? When? When did you have a forced childhood? Your mother forced you to pretend you were 12 years old when you were 17? No, she didn't. You actively faked and pretended to be. You, to those CPS people that came in 2009, you pretended to be mentally slow. You leaned into that shit. Because you were separated from your mother. Your mother didn't force you or hold your hand and squeeze your hand. They took you in separate rooms. You could have told them at any time that your mother was forcing you to do all that stuff. You had a forced childhood, but when you were pretending to be 13 years old, you were sending naked pictures to older men. You could have got caught. You could have sent those men to jail. You didn't have a force. See how she keeps twisting it because she has to. Because her whole identity, her entire life, her plea deal, everything that the public thinks about her right now, her entire TikTok channel that had the millions of followers, the only reason she had that is because people supported her and thought she was abused. Now that all of this is coming out and proving she was never abused, Dee Dee never did any of this. Her whole life, her whole story falls apart. The narrative around her falls apart. And once the public on the outside, the broadstream, the public off of TikTok, once they learn that, Gypsy's done. All she's going to have is her little flying monkeys over there. She can go on live. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares. All they're doing is keeping track of her bullshit now and putting that out to the public. They're showing, like that Bev, they're recording that. We're watching everything she does, and we're just giving it to the public.
It seems
And the disdain in her voice when she's my fucking 1 year old. That's terrifying. Stay away from children.
Well, you saw the one where she's on the couch with Ken, and they're talking about the baby taking baths or whatever, getting the baby out of the bath, and she does the shaking.
I,
Yeah.
it's just disgusting. As a mother, as a woman with maternal instincts, she's got none. She has none.
No.
yeah, I think personally it seems to me like just from that little clip, like she's using her ability to say, "Oh, I'm giving my daughter everything that like she needs, this good childhood," to kind of just manipulate the narrative again of like her, like it just always reverts back to her. Like she's bringing up her daughter and giving her a good childhood just to discuss again how she was not given a good childhood. And it's just like she's just using her and the ability that she has a daughter
Mm-hmm.
to reference back to her again.
It's just
And it's
another
sad.
cosplay. It's another
Yeah.
cosplay to her.
Everything she does is acting. It's acting, it's strategy, it's calculated, everything towards one agenda, and that is continuing the lie. She has to. Without that lie, she's nothing. Okay, the entire lie about Dee Dee that they started in 2016, that's Gypsy's whole identity. Okay, because when they started the Munchausen defense and they started building Dee Dee into the monster, that became Gypsy's bio. All right, she's the abused little girl. She's not Gypsy. That's all she is. Her entire identity to the public is this is the girl who was forced to be in a wheelchair, forced to con the public. You know, she's the abused little girl. I don't know who you are, Sid. Sid wanted up. I don't know who you are. Please call you? No, I'm not going to call you. Okay? Don't know who you are, and I'm not going to call you.
Okay, if you're just gonna spam the chat, you're out.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to block you. There you go. So, um, we're getting fast at that. Boom, boom.
Yikes.
It used to take me longer just to tap them, find them, tap on them, and now I'm like I can do it in under a minute, under a second.
But
So
we've
where
had a
was I
lot
at?
of practice lately.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the abused little girl is Gypsy's entire identity. She has nothing. She doesn't exist without that identity. So, you know, if anything challenges that or counters that or proves that that's not real, you know, Gypsy can't have that. And that's what exactly what these FOIAs do. Because the public is watching these FOIAs now and going, wait a minute. Dee Dee controlled everything you did, but you made hundreds of these videos. How come Dee Dee never caught you? Not once. How come there's not a video of Dee Dee walking in the room yelling at you? What the hell are you doing naked in my living room? How come? How come there's no medical anything after 2011 when the microdeletion was diagnosed? How come you're signing off on your own medical papers and your mother's not? How come your mother never had guardianship like you claim, like you lie about? The only thing she ever had is power of attorney, which would just be when you're going under anesthesia. That's just common. That's just hospital paperwork. How come the claim of they would have drug you back and given you to your mother because your mother convinced everybody that you were mentally challenged? No, your mother didn't do that. You did that. In 2009, when CPS came and you could have told them, hey, my mother's hurting me. When they told you, when you told them that you were of legal age, you faked being mentally challenged. And that's what they put in the report. Not that you faked it, but that you were. So that means you faked it pretty good. And you were still doing that. You were doing that. And you were lying to Nick about your age. You were lying to Nick about your medical. You told Nick when you met him that you were in that wheelchair, and you weren't. And then by the time you did tell him you weren't in the wheelchair, then, he was so obsessed with you and would do anything to keep you in his life. Because he believed what you were telling him. He believed that you wanted him more than that you worshipped and adored him, and you wanted nothing more than to be with him. And you never wanted to be with him. If you'd wanted to be with Nick, you would have protected Nick. Because you knew that you and Nick were planning to murder your mother. You would have never told Aaliyah that Nick existed. Never. Yes, thanks for tapping, everybody. See, that's what all of these videos are showing. It's showing that she set Nick up. It's showing that she groomed him. Well, Corinne, I don't think that she has custody. I can't believe she does. Because if she had custody of that baby, one, I believe there is a baby, okay? But I don't think she has custody, because I think she would be. She might not show the baby's face, but that baby would be in the room. You'd see that baby like crawling on the floor or something. Or she'd take pictures of the baby sleeping. Or like she did back remember when she sang the Disney songs? A while back when she was still coming on TikTok? She'd hold the baby with the face away. But you know what? It's getting harder. Because she's over a year old. So that baby's moving, that baby's turning and twisting. And there's no way they can hold that baby without that baby turning around that would see the face. That's why I said long ago, I said, what are they going to do as that baby grows? How are they going to not show the baby's face? They have to. And they want to sell those babies' pictures. But now there's not a market for them. Well, not a big market. Because everybody's like, we don't care. The time to sell that baby's pictures would have been the day she got off of parole. That would have been the day. That was when all attention was on her. If she had sold that picture that day, it would have been mainstream media. It would have netted her a lot of money, but she didn't do that. What does she do? She posts up the Nick emails to Don Boker. That was strategy. And she even writes this long thing about how Nick is disturbed and he was doing that with other women or whatever. So that's telling. That's very telling that she did not take that day of all days to post the baby's picture with her and Ken. Ah! Betty says her grandbaby grabs the phone, takes her own pic at 1.5 years.
Selfie.
Yeah, there's CPS involvement in that baby. There has to be. Especially after this, now that all this has come out. There's no way that CPS isn't addressing that. I mean, okay, if any of us had this in our background, and we had small children, you don't think CPS would be involved? They would be knocking on the door? Just allegations. All right, they came to my house, and my kids weren't even little. My kids were, Benjamin was in first grade, so he was like 6, and George was 9. And they just came on an allegation that I punched my kids and didn't feed them, starved them. They brought police to my house. Now, had I had this shit all over the internet, where I'm actually talking about torturing women and hitting men, drugging men and hitting them over the head, and all these evil things I'll do where I'm actually plotting a murder, and I'm saying to I have the knife. I couldn't get the taser, but I've got. I mean, come on. I just there's no way CPS is not aware of this. Back when she was on parole, people sent CPS everything. There's no way that CPS does not know about these FOIAs. And if Gypsy had custody of that baby, you'd be seeing that baby. She has no reason not to right now because Ken already did show the baby. Ken showed the baby. Babygate. They had pictures of the baby. There were Christmas pictures and stuff where you can see the whole side of the baby's face. It's not like that baby hasn't been seen. Well, I don't know. CPS seems to have dropped the ball a lot, so. And then I was just scrolling, and I saw Shenna was posting somebody's little kid. I guess Shenna said that person posted her grandchild or something. I don't know, nephew, niece. I have no idea. It's like, where are you all getting these pictures of people's families? What the heck are you doing? And why? What's the point? What is the point of involving anyone's children? Even Gypsy's. Gypsy's using her own child. Because Gypsy wants to be seen as this good mother, where her mother was not. Her mother abused her. Her mother was not a good mother, but even in spite of that, in spite of her upbringing, in spite of her trauma and her challenges, she's going to be a good mother. So where's that kid? Why have we never seen, that kid's a year old. Why have we never seen you being a mother to that child? Why have we seen you over here for hours on TikTok, all over the internet, doing your stupid shit? Why have we seen more about your different hairstyles in the last year than about you mothering that baby? I mean, that would have been, you could have sold that to People magazine or any of the mommy magazines. Have you approached them? No, because you can't. She can't, be publicized in these kinds of outlets because she also, in her background, had a little girl character named Kitty that she used in daddy-daughter play. And all these FOIAs are showing what she did with that character. Showing her calling Nick daddy. Okay? Being in Dominant Daddy Little Girl Safe Playground on Facebook. Being in specific PORN sites online. She can't escape that. She can't escape any of these characters that she created and role played with, because that's a part of her life too. That's a part of her backstory. That is a part of her history. Just like everything I did online is a part of my history. I can't erase it. I can't pretend I never did it. All right? But if I wanted to be an influencer, like Gypsy, and have millions of followers, and I wanted to pretend I'm something that I'm not, then somebody could find that stuff to discredit me. They're already trying combing my internet to try to find something to discredit me. Just because I'm talking about Gypsy. Because I'm showing that Gypsy has a past and she carries that past with her. no matter what she does or where she goes. She can't distort that past. She can't rewrite it, and she can't hide it, and she can't run from it. That's why these FOIAs are
And I think
important.
that's a big thing too to realize is with everything, you are capable of having a past and becoming something else.
Mm-hmm.
I know my past before I was a mother, before I am the person I am today, but I'm not going to lie about it. If she came out and she was honest and, yeah, I did those things, I was pretty messed up, I fucked up pretty bad, that would be a different story. But she denied. Oh no, I did it because of this. It was my mom's fault. It was Nick's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It was the blade of grass outside that convinced me that day. It spoke to me. That's the reason. You sound ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There
Because
is it's that whole accountability thing that she
yes.
just cannot grasp.
Mm-hmm. You know, anytime she's challenged, she just, she blames her mom. Her mom forced her, coerced her, residual, whatever. Nick, coercive control. Nick scripted all of this. Well, but then it keeps falling apart because, and that's going to happen with the public because when she gives her excuse, oh, well, my mother controlled me, forced me, whatever. Okay, well, here's you making 100 videos where your mother's not even there. So how the hell? Where there's no fear on you that your mother's going to find you, come home and find you. Nothing. There's no, you're so confident. She's so confident when she's making these videos. She's making them in her mom's bed. She's making them in the bathroom with the door open. I live with my son. He goes on Wednesdays and Thursdays. He takes his friend home from work. He's normally gone a couple hours, but sometimes he comes home earlier, sometimes he comes home later. I would never be in the living room making a naked video and just assuming I know when he's going to walk through that door. All right, and Nick scripting it. Okay, where are these scripts? Where are the videos with Nick telling you what to do? Because he would have had to, in some way, give you that script. Either tell it to you on the phone, text it to you, send it to you in a email or fax, write it out and send it to you, make a video himself telling you what to do. Where is this? Where are the scripts? Because the reason we have all these videos right now is because they were on Nick's computer. That's why we have them. So where is the video of Nick telling you what to do? Because there were 100 videos. So, if you're talking about the questions and stuff, he asked you the different questions and things. Yeah, he did that with Don Boker too. But that's not telling you to say, hey, when our daughter's 13, I'm going to give her to you because you're the master and I'm going to give her to you to take her V card. Where's that script? Where's that instruction? It doesn't exist because Nick didn't script you. Nick wasn't as well versed in any of this. Yeah, he might have had a cursory knowledge of BDSM online, but no. Nick did not instigate this. He did not know about this before he met you. You did, because you were doing it with other men. You were doing it with Dan. You were in DeviantArt in 2011. You were doing the Grape Fantasies and the role play. You were in House Eros. You were in FetLife. You were in all these places before Nick. You don't have the excuse that you didn't have access to a computer because these FOIAs show that you were on computer 24/7. You lived on computer.
Yeah, and she was ready and willing to do it right after she had that baby too, she sent pictures to Ryan of her in the bed with the baby. Of
Hmm.
she, she's just she's just as confident and ready to do it as she always was.
Hmm.
If she's not still doing it, at least with Ryan and whoever else she happens to come across online.
Hmm. No, if Nick had been doing this before he met Gypsy, as far as in any way dabbling in this kind of thing online, um, Nick would have been better versed. He would have been more confident when he's doing the video where he's mastering her. He would have been way more confident than that. Well, one, there wouldn't be this, long video of him giving her instructions, because that's not how those kind of relationships work. It's, the master slave contract is negotiated at the beginning. All right, um, this is what will be condoned, and this is what won't. This is what you can and cannot do. This is what I will accept and what I will not accept. Once that is signed, then, it's in stone. It's that you've given your will away. The slave has given their will over to the master, and that master
And
would
she
know
wouldn't
what
have
they were
acted
doing.
the way she acted.
Right. And the biggest thing is the Demona character. The Demona character would not have existed that way in that relationship. All right? Unless the Demona, I don't see the Demona character being written in, like grandfathered in to the contract.
Yeah,
I mean, but
right.
this would not have happened. It's like Victor would not have been the master, and then Victor and Nick be the master of all of the characters, and then Victor giving them all away to Nick, and then Demona telling Victor that she wants to dominate Nick, and then Demona all of a sudden becoming master and being able to punish Nick by taking Gypsy away. Or did Nick script all of that? Did Nick script?
Well, and he would have been, if he would have scripted it, he would have known, he wouldn't have gone, oh, Demone or whatever the hell your name is in that one video. He
Right.
would have
Uh-huh.
known.
Yeah. And then there's videos of her saying how Demona existed when she was 14, and Ruby. And then the message to Nick where the Ruby character says, I emerged, and she uses that term, I emerged inside Gypsy. Now that is particular lingo. I emerged inside Gypsy. That's specific DID lingo. That was telling Nick, these people live inside of Gypsy. They all live in, so, they're a part of Gypsy. And you have to be respectful of them and not hurt them and take care of them. And he did the same thing. Dawn Boker did the same thing to him when Dawn told him she had multiple personalities. Same thing. It's like a carbon copy of what Gypsy did. And coincidentally, that links to Dr. Oz and Melissa Moore, because Dawn Boker's going to go up on Dr. Oz to talk about specifically these emails and how Nick is disturbed. So all of that matters. And still, to this day, 10 years later, nobody's really talking about it. And when I talk about it, I get a lot of trolls. I get people watching me. Why? Why is that? When I bring up certain topics that nobody wants to hear. Specifically that Gypsy doesn't want to hear because she's got no answer for it. And why? Because 2011 completely dismantles, and always has, dismantles the Munchausen defense. Completely dismantles it. And they know that. Anybody with half a brain knows that and understands what sexual agency means. And then in 2011, Gypsy had that. Gypsy had control of her body. Gypsy had control of her decisions and choices, and Gypsy could have walked out of that house any minute. Her mother couldn't have chased her. In 2015, her mother was very, very sick. Gypsy could have called this off any day in 3 years, but instead, for over 1,000 days, every day, she groomed Nick with sex, with threats of losing her, with coercion. There was coercive control with Gypsy to Nick, not with Nick to Gypsy. He was so passive. Nick is passive in every video. And when he tries to be demonic, the one that's dark and you can't, and he's talking in a monster voice, it's just hilarious. Yes, Corinne. Those you see Nick playing. You see his room, his bedroom. He lived in that bedroom. He lived in that bedroom, and I know because my son lives in one little room. I have the whole downstairs. I have the bathroom that I have a sauna in. I have the kitchen that I made into like a little ship's galley. Got all my ocean stuff in there. I've got the living room that's going to be my little Rat Pack bar. And I've got this room, which is my fairy tale stuff. I write my stories in here. I watch my shows. I've got 4 rooms. Plus, I've got 2 rooms upstairs for storage and my old bedroom that I used to sleep upstairs. My son lives in 1 room of this house. Oh, hey, Plum. I'll stay on another hour now that you got here. You can come up if you want. Or you can stay down there if you're more comfortable. Whatever you want to do.
Jack came up too. I'm not sure if she wants to talk.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I hit it. There you go. I hit accept. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Jack requested, so I don't know if she hit the thing by mistake or not. Y'all can sit up here. I'm just going to chat for the rest of the... I did a Vision Con last night, Plum, and I was going to do David Blanchard's interview. You know, the guy that went through the window and everything. But I can't find it anymore on YouTube, so I'm going to have to search for that.
Okay. Sorry I've missed you all. And I've missed you, my Annie.
That's okay. We always miss you when
Missed
you're
you
not here.
too.
Have you been behaving, or do I need to put you in the naughty corner?
I think I've been
No
behaving pretty
suspension.
much.
That's a
She's been
silly
good.
question.
Yeah. No, I haven't
Pardon?
been suspended. I haven't been suspended in over a month. So, yeah. I've been...
Oh, well, that might be because I haven't been around. You might need to put me in the naughty corner.
Yeah, that's true. You instigate. You're a bad influence on me.
I'm the instigator. I'm the silent little weevil in the background. So...
Okay. So is everything going good with you? Okay with you?
Not really. So the way things are have to change. You know, as far as coping, etc. You know, and the traveling and I'm not complaining. Please don't get me wrong there. I'm not complaining, but it's taking its toll, and I'm just like a flibbity gibbet at the moment. And
Well, you're probably exhausted, honey. You've got to be exhausted.
To be quite honest with you, I feel like I've had an anesthetic. That's how. I think it's more emotional exhaustion than anything, and not knowing and being told 20 different things, and when you're tired, you don't take anything in anyway. Well, I don't. I'm just finding it hard to actually function. Like, you know, the thought of um, just going and having a shower is such a big deal for me.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, I am just tired, and I just don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, and it's all caught up. So that's why I've sort of been a bit distant, because I don't want to, be silly on the live or anything.
Don't worry about that. No, this is your home, honey. You come and say whatever you want to vent, you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to dance, you want to sing.
Yeah.
I don't care what you want to do. I'm building this for my friends. And I'm meeting a lot of friends over here, and that's what I'm building this for. And it will be here anytime you need it. If you just want to listen to my stupid voice and watch my
I
silly,
love
stupid
your
face,
voice.
you know,
You know
that's
what? I bless the day I found you, that I reached out to you, Annie. I that's just a blessing to me. And now you've got all these other beautiful people on here
yeah.
that they just beautiful people. And then when you see all this terrible behaviour between adults on, regarding, I never know who's who, but I do have a little snip, and I think, what on earth is the world coming to think that there could be such pent-up hatred towards people? I will never understand that. For me, love and kindness is the way, or if you don't like someone, you just sort of step
Leave
back.
them alone. Just leave them alone.
Yes.
Ignore them.
That's right.
You know?
I know, but it's just shocking. And I was very sorry to hear about see, I can't even think straight, which is awful. The lady that passed away, she used to be on Sweet Honey's.
Oh, I just saw that. Allie, yeah. She had messaged me
Yeah.
before.
Yes, very, very sorry to hear that. And yeah, my condolences go to her family and friends. It's just terrible.
Yeah,
So,
it's
but
sad when,
anyway,
because online communities, they are very real. I mean, I've told Plum stuff that I haven't told family members.
and
A- and
same here.
you become very close, and these relationships are real. They're as real
Very
as
much.
people that I know in real life. And, you know, I want to build something over here that lasts past Gypsy, because Gypsy's
Exactly.
gonna go away. But like I said, I'm building the database, and that's gonna be lasting. But I want to build something here for the people that have been affected by this crime, and because there's a lot of us that do this for different
Yes.
reasons, and I want to be here for, you know, and Plum, you started that, because back over in Audience Speaks, when I was doing that, it's like, when I first met you, you could barely speak. You were very quiet and just, shy and reserved. And it's like, just to see you jump up on this panel and just express yourself. And it was like, I remember the first day that I met you. I wrote to the other women that were doing that thing with me, and I said, this person needs us. This woman needs us. I don't know who she is, and I don't know. I said, this woman needs this, and I want to be here. I want to, do something. And it's like, my heart just went out to you from the minute I met you. And that's been with a lot of these women that I'm meeting here.
And that's the thing. I remember telling you, Annie, that I had lost my purpose, my desire, you know, the things that I was interested in, and you gave that back to me. You actually helped me feel emotions where I had blocked them out. I just couldn't face them, you know. And for that, you will always be my number one person.
Because that's what this is about. You know,
And for
this is about being
yeah,
human
we
with each
don't
other.
know.
You know, that's what it's about.
That's right, and it's wonderful to think, like, I've met B, and you know, she's sent me the most beautiful messages, and I feel confident to just spill the beans. But in real life, it's quite hard when you're trying to protect your kids, and
Yes.
you know, you're trying to put on a brave face with things. And you know, I've got a select few friends, but I can honestly say they're lovely people, but they don't have that beautiful depth of feeling that you girls have got. And if you can keep that going, believe me, you've touched my life, and I know you can touch others. As you can probably tell, I'm struggling a little bit at the moment, but I feel safe here, and that's what we all need. And we all need to embrace each other and lift each other up. And I guarantee you, if you stick with Annie, stick with B, stick with Corinne, stick with, you know, with all the girls on here, we are going to ace it. So I'm proud. I'm proud to be.
There will be a place for you anywhere that I go. You know, it might not always be TikTok, because we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok.
I do love you, Plum.
Look, I'm still learning.
I'm thinking of you every day. I'm thinking of you every single day, Plum.
I know you are, B. I know. And, you know, I can't tell you what that means to me. I'm so confused. I'm so tired and just confused. And I don't know what I'm doing. So, you know what I do when I don't know what I'm doing? I eat fruit and nut chocolate. So
you're going through one of the hardest things that you're ever going to have to go through, and we'll be here for you. Just relax. Just
I just wish. Yeah, that's right. And look, just because I'm a blithering gibbet, please always know, all the girls on here, then I mean it, you know, with all my heart. Always reach out to me too, because I might not, you know, I might have a few screws loose at the moment, but I'm a good hugger and I'm a good lover. And yeah, so just because I'm, you know, I've got some challenges at the moment, doesn't mean that you can't reach out to me, because that's what Annie has created, and it's so important. It's just the most important thing. So there you go. That's my ramble.
Well, that's
and plus you have to keep Annie out of the naughty corner, because honestly, this woman,
it's a full-time job.
I can just imagine.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But see, like, if this is the same with my other research, with my history research. I feel like all my life I have looked into the abyss, because this started for me to try to understand evil, how human beings can do evil to each other. And so a lifetime of that has made me just hurt inside. And I don't want to I don't want to look at it, because it's, you know, the most inhuman things, especially like with this Epstein stuff now and everything. When you start digging into that, it's so inhuman that you have to find a place where you can find the common sense again. That looks like it's gone. It doesn't exist. We can find the sanity again. And it's the same thing with Gypsy. we spend so much time going over her lies and her bull and her gaslighting and her taunting and her trolling and then she's got this crew that trolls us. We can't just investigate this case or talk about this case without having to deal with all of these monsters that have a job to still defend her, to build up this lie. So
Yeah.
we can't just do our right as a human being to study something or read about it or learn about it without having to deal with all of the filter crap. So,
Yeah.
we have to constantly remind ourselves how to be human. And that's what we do for each other. When I
Yeah.
relate to Plum and I can hear her and I can hear her heart, that keeps me human. It keeps reminding me of this is important. What I do over here or wherever I take it, just being here for this person is important. And that goes
Yeah.
far beyond Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
That's right, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what it's all about. So I'll do everything in my power always to support the beautiful souls that are on here, and it's just sometimes I'm just not able to come up, if you know what I mean. I just can't hold it.
I know.
Yes, so that's why I've been a bit scarce and I don't know what's going on, and I don't know. But anyway, I did have a very, very clever question to ask.
Okay.
Mike Stanfield, he's no longer her solicitor, her lawyer?
Oh, no, no. And well, I think for a long time now, he wasn't her lawyer. He became her manager for a short time, and then
That's right, yes.
she just admitted that he's not she does not have a manager. She says Bree's not her manager, and Mike, she does not have one.
Right. I wonder if there was a falling out or
I don't know.
whether he
Nobody's-
ran into the
She
hills.
had specifically said we no longer have a business relationship.
Right.
So I don't know. It doesn't sound like whatever it was ended well in the business aspect, but he did show up to things like the baby shower and
Yeah.
things. So who knows what really happened?
Well, the last thing she did, as far as that specifically affected Mike Stanfield, was the prescription pad thing a couple months back, where
Yes.
she pulled it out of the tub, the plastic tub, and she's like, "Oh, look what I just found!" Right? Well, that would have gotten Mike Stanfield in trouble because she claims that Christy took it out of the house. It was under Dee Dee's bed, and so
Yes.
Christy, that would have been legal evidence at the time. Christy should have given that to the investigation, or she gave it to Mike. She admitted she gave it to Mike. Well, Mike should have given that to the investigation to prove, okay, was
Right.
Dee Dee forging prescriptions? Because that was the insinuation with the prescription this whole time, is that Dee Dee was forging prescriptions and then rugging Gypsy, right? That's what they want us to think about this prescription pad. Well, that blew up in her face, and she took it back,
Yes.
and nothing happened with it. But that basically, a lot of people started asking, how come Mike didn't give that to the police?
Right.
So
okay.
that's when Mike kind of disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, rightly so. I mean he's got a lot to answer for
Uh-huh.
with the deception, legally as well as her manager. I don't know how the man can live with himself.
Yeah. And
But-
her post-prison behavior does not do him any justice at all.
No.
Not at all, B. Not at all.
And now
Terrible.
people are
Just-
digging. Yeah, people are digging into VisionCon and trying to find if Mike has a connection to that through this David Stanfield.
Yes, because I truly believe that he does have. I've always felt that, and I don't know why.
Me too.
Just a feeling. Yeah, there's there's something fishy going on in that area. I'm sure of it. Hopefully one day we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well,
And he'll get to the bottom of it.
yeah. Last night I did the VisionCon connection with David Blanchard and those dark kind of, fetish communities that he was in, and also Dan Glidewell was connected to those. So it's
Yeah.
not kind of like a coincidence that
Oh,
they were playing around in those bondage kind of show things, and then in 2011 they're doing power dynamics, and Dan Gladwell's trying to say, oh, Gypsy introduced him to that. I don't think,
yeah.
I think both of them were doing it. I think Gypsy was doing it long before she met Dan Gladwell. Dan Gladwell was already in it, and then they met and did it together. Gypsy did not
Yes.
teach Dan Gladwell. Dan Gladwell was already doing that shit, that role play.
Yeah.
So, because when you're in that life, it's just, other people. You get to know other people in the community, and it grows from there. You are recommended
Yeah.
or introduced to other people through the other people in the community. So,
That's right. It's like a crazy network of
yes,
people covering for it.
That's exactly what it is. It's an underground network of people that all play around in their fetishes. That's what it is.
Oh, it's just so sickening. It really is. But I really wouldn't be surprised if Mike Stanfield has some connection there. And even more people. I mean, I've often wondered about neighbours and, why did people see things and not say anything? And, the gypsy could talk. And I've wondered, well, I wonder if they're in this Vision Con thing, or it really makes you wonder.
I think a lot of stuff will get uncovered that she's been fooling around with.
Because what we're going to
yeah.
have with these Facebook things, like there's 20,000 pages of it. What we're going to have is beyond Nick. We're going to have what she was doing before she met Nick, what she was doing, along with we know that she was messaging Dan Glidewell while she was with Nick, because Dan Glidewell's girlfriend wrote to Nick. So we know, how did she find out about Nick? Other than she would have been on the Facebook accounts and seen
That's
Nick's,
right.
Nick and Gypsy corresponding. So you're going to see all that We're going to see the interaction that Gypsy was doing on Facebook and online that did not include Nick. It included other people.
Yes.
And other websites. That's all going to come out eventually. It's just going to take time. And now I scroll through TikTok, and it just seems like nobody's talking about the FOIAs. It's like, this is all the evidence that we've been waiting for 10 years.
Yeah, and that's what we've really got to focus on, is the facts, and where we can put our thoughts to regarding those facts. And different people might have different ideas and different trails to go down, but as a group of people bouncing thoughts off each other, I think that's the way to go, without all the outside interference of all the fighting and drama and what have you. We're very lucky not to have that. So this is a good, safe place that we know we can say, come up with an idea or something, and even if it might sound far-fetched and absolutely ridiculous, it's validated because it means something to whoever has said it. And I think that's what helped me get my voice, was that, oh gosh, I was so shy and got all tongue twisted and everything, but Annie validated what I was saying. And to be validated with empathy and kindness, that's the only way to be towards everybody. And it helps people become productive too. So, yes, this is the best place for it.
Mm-hmm.
It
No,
is.
yeah, Corinne is saying that, she's fallen off a little bit because of life. Life comes first. All of our
Yes, that's
lives
right.
come first before Gypsy, you know?
Yeah.
Gypsy will be here. And like these FOIAs that have just come out in the last year, those will be organized and put out to the public. You know, you don't have to do Gypsy every day. In
Yeah.
fact, take care of your life first, and then you can come back here and catch up anytime. And there will be stuff to do about Gypsy. Right
Yeah.
now, it's the time for busy work. Debate is over. We don't have to analyze it anymore. We know what she did. We know who she is. We know what she's doing online now. Currently, we know what her intentions are. We know what she wanted to build when she got out of prison, and she wasn't able to because we didn't let her. All right.
Yeah.
If she had never gone on the Vow Files and said that, that was her original downfall when she said, I don't consider myself or whatever a murderer because I didn't do the act. That's when people started looking sideways at her and
That's
started,
right.
yeah. And
I,
so, all of those things that she did, like the Vow Files is going to have to address these videos. They haven't to
yes.
date, but they're going to have to because people are going to go backwards. What after these videos now, and we're not started. They've only put like maybe 20 of them out. There's hundreds of them. Once these are all out and stored, and then the public has a chance to watch them all, then the public's going to go back to when she was released in 23, December 23, and all those podcasts that she went on in January. That she went on The View. She was on Vow Files. Okay, her trip with Ryan to New York, and they're going to start picking all of that apart. All of her activity for the
Yeah.
last 2 years, not just over here, everywhere she did, where she was trying to build up her public persona as this victim, as this, advocate, whatever. Everything's failed because she's not any of those things. She's not a victim. So she could not be that to the public when there's no evidence that she was. And
That's
now
right.
this is extensive evidence because this is exactly everything that prosecutor would have taken into court to dismantle that Munchausen defense and convict her. So
Yeah.
we have that now. And, Gypsy doesn't have an answer. That's why Gypsy's not over here on TikTok doing lives herself.
Yeah.
That's why
And
she's
we're about to
guesting up
get
on Shanna.
another door open here very soon because I don't know if you saw it, Annie, but I sent it to you. Kendall, that girl that Gypsy's been sending the cease and desist to, that did the cameo with her,
Right.
she released today that media outlet is going to have the article coming out. So she did another video today about that mass media article. Now, this article, I'm sure, is not just going to be focused on this girl on TikTok that made Gypsy Rose look like a fool through Cameo. There's going to be a bigger story surrounding that. And I'm interested to see what this is going to bring. And with that new door opening, there's going to be more questions and a whole new set of interest with this. And it's going to renew that. And we're going to have to refocus. And all of this nonsense that's going on is going to come to a halt. And you're going to have to be refocused back on the facts, or people aren't going to be watching.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where can we see that, Bea?
I sent it to Annie earlier. I'll see if I can find
Okay.
it again because she responded to the comment I made on it. So I'll pull it back up. I'll send it to you, Plum. She didn't
Oh,
announce
thank
who
you.
it was yet. She's been kind of vague about that, and I think she's vague because she doesn't want Gypsy and Ken putting a stop to it. So I think
Of
they've told
course.
her, don't say who you've spoken to. But she said as she can't wait for it to come out, it's coming out. So I can't wait for that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, that's something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everything that comes out is just going to validate the evidence. That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Where we are right now is, for 10 years, Gypsy has controlled the narrative, uh, Lifetime and everything, they allowed her the platform to continue that narrative. Well, all of this FOIA stuff negates everything that was in that Lifetime show. Okay,
Yes.
because all right, Lifetime, they presented, like, when she got out of parole, that Ryan was like her first, that she was never with, act like she was never with Nick.
Yeah.
She was with Nick. Well, and even Gypsy said that Nick didn't take her virginity. Well, who did? Because you were with a guy in a hotel room at VisionCon. You were with Dan Glidewell. You were with Nick in the bathroom of the movie theater. Who took your virginity?
Yeah.
And then when in 2017 or 2018, when Erin Lee Carr did her Ask Me Anything on Reddit, she writes there that Gypsy was a virgin when she met Nick. That's not true. So, now what we're going to be able to do is match everything that she has said since 2016 when she went into prison. Those prison interviews, Dr. Phil interview, all of the television interviews, all of the documentaries, minutes, the View, everything, the Australian 60 Minutes that she did, every article that she's quoted in online. We're going to be able to take this evidence that prosecutor would have used in court and match it up with those interviews, with her legal statements from those things. And that is what's going to happen in the mainstream media, because the mainstream media can now say, hey, back in 2016, we were just reporting what the prosecutor told us. And the
Yes.
prosecutor told us that he had evidence that Dee Dee had Munchausen, kept her in prison all her life, and abused her medically. All right, that's what we were told. The official story was that. All right, so that's what the media reported. So now the media can save face by saying, well, wait, we never saw any of this. We were never given access to this. Well,
Yeah.
somebody was. HBO and Erin Lee Carr were given access to that when they did Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. But the rest of the media was not. They were
Yeah.
not given access to this evidence.
So the Vile Files, that's the one where she was sitting like a man with her knee, not ladylike, like with a leg
Yeah,
across.
right.
And she
Yeah.
said, I don't identify as a M because I didn't do the actual K, and it made me sick. I thought, it sounds like she's talking about, K-ing I don't know, a fish or something. Like, no, it was disgusting. No,
Yeah,
no
she sounded
feeling.
like she was hunting.
Yes, that really turned my stomach. And she was so cocky sitting there like Humpty Dumpty gone wrong. And the way she was sitting was like, she was owning everything. And, like I've seen a lot, obviously not as much as you girls, but I've seen a lot. And I'd have to say that's one of the really ick moments for me,
Mm-hmm.
is just the fact that she had the gall to sit there like she did and sort of show off about it in a way. you know,
And
claiming
that's what she doesn't. She doesn't. And I don't think a lot of people put it into the context of this way. In this country, people are crazy about their pew pews.
yeah,
And one of the major arguments for people is pew pews don't kill people, people kill people.
yeah,
Essentially, Gypsy made Nick the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
exactly, B.
And why is that any different? Nick didn't, Gypsy did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's where I have a hard time wrapping my head, because Nick was her weapon of choice in this murder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
the,
she is the person behind that weapon. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And all those months of her manipulating and well,
Do you see this one? Do you see this one down here? Using your platform to gossip instead of bring awareness to ICE with everything going on. Shame. Okay. Do you see the name
That's our
up
other
here?
platforms,
Yeah.
Genius. So you can go fly a kite.
Yeah.
And we spend other hours of our day bringing awareness to that. And now
Yeah.
we're talking about a different subject. So you can F off.
Okay.
Okay.
and I double that.
Go over to my JFK Annie account. Y'all know my name because y'all keep dropping it. So go over to my JFK Annie account. I'm going to be talking about ICE. I'm going to be talking about Epstein. In fact, I just posted over there a thread where I said, would you like to know the about Pizzagate and the rise of Q and Epstein and how that connects to Roger Stone? Ask me.
Oh, they
So,
already left. They shot their wad and left.
yeah.
Freaking idiot.
Well, who were they?
Boy.
They have 17. They're following 17. They have 300 followers.
What a
So,
wiener.
I mean, it's like, first off, they come in here and it's like, I can recommend about a dozen that are accounts right now that are talking about ICE and all kind of stuff. Okay, if you want, because I have that over on 3 of my other accounts. But like, okay, when you come into this live, can you see the topic that I have listed? That it's Gypsy Rose. Does it show that, or can you not read? Maybe
Well,
they can't
reading
read.
is difficult, so
Yeah. B, I blame the public school system. Hi, Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Like, and first off, we're not even gossiping. I'm not gossiping. I'm just talking about the facts of the case.
Yeah, they come in here acting like we're talking about nail polish colors. Come on.
Oh dear.
Oh, here's one. Lotus bounced in and out. Yeah, see, we get a few of those every night, and I don't understand why. I really, truly, at this point, I've been doing this well over a year, where I was doing, I didn't do lives right away when I came over here. I just started doing them a little over a year ago. And how they find me. How they even find, I'm one of millions of people doing lives. I've got 24 people in here. I'm not like a well-known or influencing thing at all. So how are they finding me? And
Yeah, are you spending your time bouncing from live to live going, oh, you're gossiping. You're not talking about ICE. Well, neither are you. You're wasting your time bouncing from live to live. So pot meet kettle. How about that?
I tell you what, why don't you go make your own live Talk about ICE and invite me. Follow me and invite me. I'll talk about ICE over on your live.
Oh, we made the FYP.
Ah,
Thanks, guys, for all the taps. You guys did awesome tonight. Thank you.
oh yeah, I've got 16. I don't pay attention to that. See, because I'm just talking to my friends. I don't want hundreds of people in my live because it's too hard to control. And I'm a control freak. I'm very, anal about that. I have to control what I do over here. And this is just a conversation with my friends. And these friends happen to have an interest in true crime, and not just Gypsy, but true crime. We talk about all kinds of things. And soon we're going to start talking about other crimes because Gypsy's over. Gypsy can't come back. That's why she's shaving her head. I mean, that is so telling that she shaved her head completely bald, guys, except for this
Oh.
bow thing on top.
Oh, she's wearing a toupee. She's got a toque on big time.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I'll send you the
Yes.
picture, Plum. I'll send you the picture. Oh my God, yeah. She completely on the bottom. At first she shaved it, so it was like a pixie cut. Now she's completely shaved it bald. She's got stubble showing. I mean, that's the thing
Wow.
too. She didn't even do a good job of shaving. When you shave your head like that, you either shave it down to buzz, you know. Most
Yeah.
most women, when they have that cut, they'll shave it down to like a light buzz, because we like to rub it. It feels
Yeah.
good when you rub it, and because I have a pixie cut sometimes, and I'll shave the back with clippers, and you do the lowest clipper. But she actually took looks like she took a razor, but she didn't shave it smooth. She's got like stubble.
It's like
Oh.
chunk.
It looks so
It's
gross.
awful.
It is not attractive at all. It's
And
not
has she
like,
got like a bit on the top, has she? Or is it all gone?
It's about an inch on the top. It's pretty bad, but supposedly that was from a while ago, and this latest little do that she's got going on is the grow out from it. But this is it. I think she's wearing a toupee and she's just hacking away at her head.
oh, maybe she did.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there was some speculation that she used to yank her hair out. So she
Yeah.
might have
Trichotillomania.
bald spots.
Yeah, trichotillomania.
Gosh.
It's just so everything she does is weird. But also everything she does is a tell.
Yeah.
She is obviously affected by all of this that's going on. She's trying to pretend she's not, like she posted the dance videos where people are mocking her dance thing and acting like, she's going viral. It's going viral. She's actually mentioned like the Gypsy stuff, the Gypsy file. She's mentioned those. She's trying her best to make it look like she's not affected, but she is very affected. If she wasn't, here's the one thing that tells you, if she wasn't, she'd be over here doing those get ready with me's, the makeup things in the bathroom, and making all kind of money.
Yes.
Exactly.
If she wasn't affected, she would go open up every place she is, Instagram, YouTube. She'd open up those comments and not give a shit about what anybody says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't and she won't. And she's not even going on her own. Every time she tries, nothing works for her, so she goes back over there and doesn't show her face, but she goes up and voice chats on Shenna. And now she doesn't have Bree anymore. She used to use Bree. She doesn't have Bree. She's got a distance from Bree. And so now all she's got is Shenna, and that is going to blow up in her face because Shenna is just ugly. Everything Shanna does over here is just ugly, and people don't want to watch it. People don't want to
She's
watch it.
vile.
Yeah,
Absolutely
she's vile.
vile.
She has no morals, no soul. She's just a shell of a human being.
Oh, and so forceful and the terrible things she says
Mm-hmm.
if you don't follow what she says, or if you don't agree with her, how she's defending someone or whatever. Oh, she's a vile human being, and I wouldn't like to meet her in a dark alleyway, I can tell you that.
I kind of wish I would. I haven't
Yeah, you
kicked
be.
anybody's ass in a long time. I think I beat up an old lady.
Yeah, and
Oh, well,
they've
then I'd
they've
come
got
and watch.
yeah, no, they've got Dreamer was over there threatening Audrey. Actually threatening Audrey. They're over there. They are nasty with everybody. They harass. They collect information and they dox people. Uh, they're doing a lot of illegal shit, and they're just putting it on the legal record. They're just being public with it. You know.
Absolutely terrible. Shame on them.
Annie, I did get a notification the Vision Con is up on YouTube.
Oh, okay. All right. That was quicker than I thought. Thought it was going to be a couple days. Yeah. The one I did last night, the VisionCon one I did last night, is public on YouTube now, so you guys can go. It's where I read the PDF file I made all about the connection with it was there was this BDSM group and everything that did events and shows all over Springfield, and they were these really dark torture shows, basically, fetish shows, but with piercings and hanging themselves from hooks and everything, really violent stuff.
Oh,
And I have it as a PDF file over on in my database, and so you can download it. And there's pictures. I couldn't show the pictures because they were too graphic. They would have taken my live down. But that's over. The PDF that I read and showed you where to find it all is over on YouTube now.
oh wow.
Yeah.
I'll watch that, Annie. Thank you.
Yeah, and I also have up there. I have the where months ago I did the one where I talked about Gypsy and the deviant art and all her fetish play and everything. That's up over there now too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, and the
Thank
one
you.
where they all trolled us, where Bree and all of them came over and trolled us. That's up there. But I've got to start making the lives under 3 hours because it won't let me upload or download over 3 hours. It like stops in the middle of the download.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but what I can
Okay.
do is like I can charge both my phones and I can do like a live over here that's like 2 hours, and then I can switch phones and turn off and do another live. Come back a half hour later and do another live. So
Yeah.
I can do that on weekends. Because like for you Australian people that are in a different time zone, I can start doing that on weekends.
Okay.
So that if when you come in at 11, 12 o'clock, then I can talk with you later into the night, and then the earlier people can go to bed.
So, what day is it there?
What is today? Today is well, it's midnight, so
Saturday night.
yeah, it's
Well,
Saturday night,
Okay.
but it just
not
turned
for me
midnight, so it's
yet.
Sunday. Yeah,
Okay. It's 8 minutes past 4 on Sunday afternoon here.
yeah.
So, well, I'm going to have to leave, but I just want to send my love to you all and thank you. And I will be tuning in when I can. Yeah, just all look after each other as you do. That's what it's all about.
Well,
And
Plum, we're
Thanks for
making
stopping
yeah, B and I are making big plans. We're going to take this off of
back all
TikTok.
the time.
We're going to go over to YouTube and I'm going to do lives over there. We're going to start a Substack. I'm going to start a thing on Blogger where people can write. Anyway, I'm going to make an account for you on all of those platforms so that you can come over and watch or join the lives or whatever you want to do. I'm going to make you emails and profiles and everything anywhere we go.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful. You have to teach me how to do it all.
I know. I'm just gonna drag you along.
We're all learning.
Just drag me along,
Yeah.
and I'll make sure I keep you out of the naughty corner, and all will be well.
Well,
Okay.
let me have some fun. Let
Well,
me
I
have a
want
little
you to
bit of fun.
I want to see your beautiful peacock necklaces.
Yeah, I will.
Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna start dressing up more after the winter.
yes, yes.
I've got a bunch of my wigs ready. I'm gonna start wearing makeup and dressing up again. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love you all, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for making me part of your family. I'll always be true to you all, and I know you'll be true to yourselves, and that's what's important, isn't it? So, but the other thing is, I don't know how to get out. I should know that by now.
I'll let you
I
down.
can kick her out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Kick
Plum,
me
if you
out.
need anything at all, anything, you just want to vent, anything, message me. I got you, girl.
Thank you, B. Thank you so much. And yeah,
Take
you,
care of yourself.
I will. Okay. Bye bye, all you beautifuls. Bye
All
bye.
right. We love
Bye
you.
bye, hon.
Love you.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people. Always has been from the first day I met her. She's just the sweetest soul. Now go away, Plum. You're letting her down? Okay, there she goes. All right. Okay. I think I've got another half an hour on this battery. So if anybody else wants to come up, I always forget like what we've talked about. See, okay, so I wanted to do the David Blanchard, but I could not find it. So I'm going to have to search for that, and I'll do that tomorrow night because here's the point I was trying to make with that. It's not a oh, Bee, where'd you go? Hold on. Okay. All right. Um.
It booted me too. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, the point I was trying to make with the VisionCon, David Blanchard, and everything. The thing I read last night, where it showed how that other torture thing, where they were doing events, and that David Blanchard and Dan Gladwell were both kind of connected to that. And then those were connected in the background of VisionCon, and they made VisionCon, the family-friendly one, but the same people that were running VisionCon were also running the fetish things. David Blanchard was DJing there. So when you do these kinds of things in small communities like Springfield, so everybody knows about each other. It's like the VisionCon people knew about the darker things, and so they knew David Blanchard was connected with those other things. They just didn't advertise it or whatever at VisionCon because VisionCon was going to be family friendly, and it was also going to be a lot of money. And also, I was searching VisionCon on ChatGPT, and it was saying that a lot of the money that was collected at VisionCon went to charities, went to different charities. So I'm going to go down that rabbit hole and see if there was any kind of fake charities created that where money was going to places it shouldn't have gone. Anytime you have large, massive amounts of money like that, there's going to be some kind of criminal element. There's going to be, money laundering going on. So when David Blanchard did his interview with the police, him bringing up Dan Glidewell is very suspicious. Very suspicious. Because what he was trying to do is kind of put their attention on something else related to Gypsy and them, and not Gypsy and VisionCon. Because if they were doing, for instance, if they were passing Gypsy around at VisionCon, if that's how Gypsy got these men's Facebook accounts, or, okay, first off, we don't know yet how Gypsy sent the naked pictures. Did she send them in a text message by phone? Did she send them via Skype? Did she send them through Facebook? Did she send them through emails? We don't know that. We just know that she's admitted to sending them. She told Nick that Ruby sent them. The Ruby character that emerged inside Gypsy sent these pictures. So she has admitted through Ruby that she did do this. And it was, when she was pretending to be 13 years old. So how'd she send them? And if she sent them an email, how'd she get the men's emails? If she sent them on Facebook, how'd she get their Facebook accounts? And, you can't just send naked pictures through Facebook. Facebook doesn't allow that. That's against their community guidelines. You can't send graphic images like that on Facebook. So, how'd she get away with all this shit? And how did Dan Gladwell find her secret account on Facebook? Somebody gave it to him. The story is that they bumped into each other. They met at VisionCon. He bumped into her wheelchair. Okay, did Gypsy exchange Facebook accounts then? Did Gypsy give Dan her secret Facebook account at VisionCon? He says, and according to his testimony, he found her secret account. How'd he find it? Something was going on there where these people could locate Gypsy, or Gypsy could find out these other people's information. The guy in the hotel room that Gypsy was found with, how did that encounter even happen? How'd that happen? Did Gypsy meet him at VisionCon and just, okay, I'm going to go off with you to a hotel room, complete stranger? No. There would have been interaction online, and then, okay, we're going to hook up together at VisionCon. How many other hotel rooms was she in backstage at VisionCon in her party wig? Well, Hannah, the sundresses thing, there, that picture of her sitting in the grass, and she's in that yellow, you can't see her face, she's got like a hat on in the yellow sundress. I think that's what was referenced to that. And I haven't come across that picture in the FOIA files yet, I don't think. When I do, I can find more information about where that was taken and all that. I've seen it posted online, but I've not, to my memory, I haven't seen it in the FOIA files yet. So that's always what I thought that David meant by the sundress comment. I don't know why that's why I wanted to play it tonight, but I can't find it now. So if you can find where that is, maybe get it to me. But I'll search tonight and tomorrow. I don't know why David told the cops anything. His interview in particular has always been suspicious. It throws up so many red flags for me. Mainly the story about Dan, where he said, Dee Dee told me that Gypsy ran off to be with Dan and had the relationship with Dan. So that means that David would have known that Gypsy could walk then. When Dee Dee would have had to have told him sometime before her murder. So that means sometime between 2011 and 2015, Dee Dee told David Blanchard this story. I don't think he says when she told him it. I've never found any, and I've not found it in the police report. So, okay. Once Dee Dee told him that story, David would have had a response. His would have been, in the least, he would have gone to Dan Glidewell and said, is this true? Dee Dee told me this. Is this true? And he would have asked, because at that time, in 2011, David's saying he thought she was 15, right? So he would have gone to Dan Glidewell and said, hey, Dan Glidewell, who I have known for years, who has been in these BDSM communities with me, and these events and stuff with me. I've known you in this Vision Con for years before I knew Dee Dee and Gypsy. Did you sleep with Gypsy in 2011 when she was 15 years old? And then would Dan not have told David, she's not 15, she's legal age, she's almost 20. Here's the evidence of that. So why is David Blanchard still saying he didn't know she could walk and he didn't know how old she was after the murder? Why is he still saying that? See, if you look at this like a detective would look at this during an investigation, and you take it all apart and you timeline it and you break it down to its basic elements, then there's no confusion over what we're looking at. And now that we have every single bit of this evidence that the prosecutor had in 2016 that he used in Nick's trial, but he didn't use in Gypsy's because Gypsy didn't have one. Now that we have all this evidence that completely dismantles any inkling that Dee Dee abused Gypsy, controlled her in any way, shape, or form, because that's exactly what that prosecutor would have done. Had they gone into trial and they used the Munchausen defense, because they couldn't use the abused spouse defense anymore, that's what they were going to use, that Nick did it all and Nick forced her. Well, as soon as that video came out, they couldn't do that, because it shows Gypsy controlling, Gypsy soliciting, Gypsy giving the money, Gypsy asking him to do it, Gypsy involved, Gypsy stealing the knife. There's the video of Gypsy saying, I've got the knife, but I couldn't get the taser. So if you have to punish me because I couldn't get the taser. This shows the plan. Her asking him, her thanking him for doing this for her. Gypsy could have stopped this at any moment. All she had to do was not send him the money to get to her. Nick couldn't get to her. It would never have happened. End of story. So, Gypsy has no defense for this evidence, because this is the evidence that would have dismantled her Munchausen defense on the stand. So why is everybody not talking about it? Why is everybody who does Gypsy content not talking about this evidence? Why do we have brand new people popping up in our lives, going up on panel, and Gypsy's flying monkeys up on panel with them, and there's all this over these people that we don't know, have no idea who they are, and don't care about, and have nothing to do with Gypsy Rose, or this case, or Dee Dee, or justice for Dee Dee, or any of that. Why are we calling ourselves a true crime community that discusses the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case if we're not going to discuss the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case? When we finally have the evidence that I've been waiting for myself for 10 years. What are y'all doing over here? And why am I still being trolled? Because I am talking about it. Why am I still being trolled every time I do a live? Every single time I do a live with 18 people in this. Why do you give a shit about what I'm saying over here? I know why you give a shit. You give a shit because I've dismantled your defense since I started doing anything over here. I have talked about 2011, and particularly the fetish thing, shit that you were doing, since I started doing any kind of live. So you've had to handle me since then. And I love that for you, Gypsy. Okay, so I got about 20 minutes left probably. Does anybody else want to come up real quick? I can shut up for a while and you guys can talk.
Hi, sorry, I'm here to talk. If I have anything that I can think of, I
Well, I
just
got to
was
go to the
plugging
bathroom,
my.
so you guys are going to have to perk up.
Okay, I finally unplugged my phone from the charger. Thank goodness, so there won't be any
Yeah,
noise.
I can hear you clear. Okay, so
Perfect.
I might have an hour. I at least have a half an hour on this battery, because it's been. When did I start? At 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 3.5 hours. Um, I wish I can learn how to. If there's a way to like, when I go to download these, if I can edit it or something. I cut them in half or clip them or something.
You can clip. You can clip them. Is
Yeah.
it on your phone?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you can clip and then save it as a new video when you clip it, so you'll still have both,
Okay.
like the whole
Because when,
thing, but it will be in
yeah,
separate parts.
yeah, because when I go much over 3 hours, it doesn't want to download, so
Yeah,
that I
I
can put them up on YouTube.
you can definitely clip it. You can always DM me like a screenshot of what you're doing, and then I can kind of help you. But
Yeah. Or I mean, I can give certain people permission to record it. I just think I don't want to give everybody permission, but more than willing to give just a few of you guys that I trust permission to record and then put it up on YouTube or whatever.
yeah,
Like I
let
can
me
give you
know.
all the sign-ins for the. I've been putting them up on my JFK Annie YouTube, but I have a YouTube for the Gypsy Rose database, which I can start transferring them all over.
Yeah, or even if you didn't want to share it, I can always clip it for you and then like send it back to you,
Hmm.
or I'll record it, clip it, and send it to you, or whatever you want.
Hmm. Well, I just want, like, especially specifically, if we're just yammer yammering, I'm not always putting that over there. But like, if it's specifically, if I read the Chat GTP stuff, because they're interested in that, and they're interested in like strategy on how to get her, off the internet. Those kinds of things I want up over there.
Yeah, yeah, I can help you with that.
Yeah. So you guys, a lot of you guys have talents that I don't know yet that you can, you know help me with. Like we need to start making like quick memes, like images and stuff that we can just start posting everywhere with.
Chat
And
is good for a good meme.
yeah, and like all of these FOIA stuffs, take clips of her in those videos, because and then start making those into memes and then spreading those all over, because people aren't going to read a lot or maybe watch like a 2 hour video, but they'll watch a clip, or they'll
Mhm.
watch, or they'll follow a link. Like we can start linking Becca's videos and just these short like somebody needs like Into the Weeds. Like I've clipped them and